It's cool. Whoa. I didn't know you can play, man.
Play Wonderwall!
No.
We can't sing it. We'll
It's
get
after
sued.
all.
We're gonna get sued!
Cause Wonder... It goes like this, right? You're my Wonderwall. You're my Wonderwall.
Wonderwall!
Since when was Blink-182 a
Wonderwall!
ska band?
Girl issues!
Oh, get off.
Wonderwall!
Dude, actually-
we are British!
actually,
Wonderwall!
I
Girl
think
issues
I
again!
would like
I'm wearing Austin's lame
Blink-182
Letterman
if
jacket.
they
It's
were
interesting.
if
That's
they
a
were
very
actually a
sexy.
ska band. I think I'd listen to Blink-182.
No, they're terrible anyway.
I wouldn't hear Blink-182 if they paid me to. Hey, that rhymed.
Ha!
You're a
You
musician.
run 2 and 2? Impressive.
Dr. Seuss in the house.
So, I got, oh wait, I gotta introduce us, of course.
Who are we? Who am I?
Who am I?
Who am I?
We're the
That's
Review
one of
Locker.
the movies.
Yes, it is.
I am,
Identity.
I'm your host, Austin Campbell. I'm here with Flavio Archilla.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Hey, Sean Runyard
Hi.
and Stephen
That
Murray.
was lame.
Hello.
Let me read
Why is
that.
Steven last?
Because I'm the man of the hour.
Yeah,
Or
best,
are you?
best for last or best for last?
First.
Best for
Um,
first.
Yeah, so the date, what's today?
Today's the
18th.
25th.
December. 2014.
Actually, it is.
Welcome to the future,
And
everybody.
it's actually,
Podcast of the
It's
future.
actually Tuesday, the 27th, 2013.
Would that be better if we keep the future gimmick up, you know? It'd be more exciting.
Gimmick? I don't know a gimmick.
Oh man, our floating skateboards
I
are
got-
so cool.
I have a question.
That's
Because
2015.
I think by now you've all heard about Ben Affleck being cast as
Oh my God.
the
Who's
Batman.
Ben Affleck? I'm kidding. Who doesn't know who Ben Affleck
So Ben Affleck gets to be two
He's a Joker.
superheroes in his life. He was Daredevil, and so DC was laughing their butts to the blank. Yeah,
Their butts
their
to the
butt-
blank.
Their butts to the blank.
Butts to
yes.
the blank. I always left my butt to the blank when I
I
was
put my butt to the blank every weekend.
Yeah, I mean, well, like my first instinct was like kind of a groan.
Let me
Kind of
shine
a groan,
you
though.
guys on some light. When The Dark Knight came out,
Surfaced.
Surface came out, everybody was pissed that Heath Ledger was going to play the Joker.
Yeah,
Everybody was making
I
comments.
didn't even remember that.
They were like, this guy was in Brokeback Mountain. He's not even a famous actor. Who cares about this schmuck? And, you know, then he gave a awesome performance as the Joker. And I think, like, okay, I know Ben Affleck isn't that great of an actor, but, I mean, giving him the chance in this movie might save face. And also, there has been some word that Bryan Cranston would play Lex Luthor.
Actually,
I would
there's
like that
also
a
rumor.
lot.
There's also rumor of Mark Strong playing Lex Luthor, which would make more sense because Bryan Cranston's actually a little old.
I would
He is
prefer
pretty
Bryan
old.
Cranston.
Bryan Cranston
But
could do
it. Maybe it's him in
everybody
the
would
future.
prefer Bryan Cranston.
Mark Strong though could do it.
Who's Mark Strong?
He, how do I? Well, he was in Zero Dark 30. He played Sinestro in Green Lantern. By the way, that was a
Oh,
terrible movie.
Yeah, it's
But
always...
he was the best part of that movie.
Well, like,
Perfectly cast.
I
Hank,
hated Green Lantern.
Hank from Breaking Bad could play him, because he's got kind of the same...
What?
he's
Talking
got-
about-
No.
wait,
Yeah,
talking-
I can
talking
see
about
Hank playing him. I'd see Hank. I
Aaron Paul's character.
don't know. I can
Yeah.
see Hank playing him.
No,
Okay.
wait, Aaron Paul.
The young guy.
No.
That's Jesse Pinkman. No,
That's-
that's the D.
Jesse
The
Pinkman
yeah.
as Lex Luthor.
That would be cool, I'd like that.
You
I
know,
was like-
Superman, you a
I'm looking.
bitch.
I'm looking at Mark Strong right now. He seems like a Lex Luthor.
Oh,
He's
he's
Can
a
I
really
see? Can
he's
you
a
share
really,
with the class?
he's a really
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
looks like a Lex
Oh,
Luthor.
I know this guy.
He looks like a
I've
young
seen-
guy,
I've seen
yeah.
him.
yeah, he's a cool actor.
Ah!
But
He does look like
What
Lex
is he
Luthor.
in?
he was
Zero
in
Dark Thirty.
Robin Hood. That one of
Men in
Russell Crowe.
Tights?
No, the one with Russell Crowe. That wasn't very good. He was in
Russell Crowe did-
Welcome to the punt. No,
I think
that's not out yet.
I think
He was in Kick-Ass apparently.
yeah, he played the bad guy in Kick-Ass.
Oh, he played the dad, that's
Yeah.
right.
But you know, like
I remember
Mike Ben Affleck
That's why it
though.
looked familiar.
I mean, what's your
Well,
take on it,
All right,
Flavio?
here's my take. Okay, so Christian Bale. I feel like before he was casted as Batman, like you didn't really associate Christian Bale with a specific character, except maybe
Maybe American Psycho.
American Psycho. But he wasn't that defined by one role, or he wasn't really like you didn't think Christian Bale, and you didn't think like one type of acting or like a specific type that he's always casted as. And then he kind of defined himself as Batman. So now, like when I think Christian Bale, like the first thing I think of, isn't American Psycho, isn't what's that other movie?
The Fighter?
The Machinist.
Yeah,
The
It isn't the
Machinist.
Machinist. It isn't the Fighter.
The Prestige.
It's Batman. It's like the first thing. That's the first thing I think of.
Movies doesn't have the word
But when I think of Ben Affleck, like I feel like he's already been defined as an actor. You know, you kind of think of like his Boston accent. You know,
Yeah.
like he was in Good Will Hunting.
I did
like,
think I was thinking this the other day actually. A good superhero he can play is the Boston Brand.
the Boston Brand. Is that
No one knows
a
who
bad
that
guy?
I know. I'm just
Explain
saying.
who that is.
I'm just-
or
He's just like
I'll fight you.
he's dead. Like he was
He's
killed
dead.
and then he avenged his murder or
Why does it sound like Jonah
his
Hex?
own murder. Yeah, he's
That's
not
not
known, but I'm just saying because he's Boston. Whatever.
Bashing. But
Bashing.
but I don't know. I mean, Ben Affleck does play like those, I guess, quirky brotherly characters, like
guess.
Matt Damon, or to like.
I heard a joke that Matt Damon should be Robin.
Yeah.
It's all over the
They
interwebs.
play a lot of roles together.
They're like best friends. They knew each other growing up.
Yeah. But, I don't know. Affleck as Batman, I'm interested, but then again, I didn't see the first Superman movie because I was so turned off by the previews that,
Really, the previous
Oh, I
didn't
think
turn me off.
the previews are better than the movie.
well, see, that's the thing. The previews
I
had
mean,
already
it's a
showed
movie.
me the entire movie, and that's what always
It didn't.
turned
I
me
mean,
off.
it didn't exactly show the entire movie because, like, what the movie, the biggest problem with that movie was like there was like no build-ups or emotional attachment. In the trailers, I felt emotional attachment and build-ups, which is weird. But I mean, I think you should still check the movie out. I think it's still worth seeing, even though despite its faults.
I'll
but,
give it a shot.
Ben Affleck, though, yeah, I think what kind of made me like groan a little bit more is like when I read the statement from Warner Brothers. I forgot all the exact words, but they said that he's an extremely well gifted actor, and I was like,
That's debatable.
In
he's- he's-
what?
extremely well gifted actors like
Well gifted in what?
good.
one that's. I mean, he's not a bad actor, but
But
he's not amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred the guy that was in Shame.
Oh,
Fassbender?
Michael
I
Fassbender.
could see him as Batman. I could totally see him as
I
Batman.
think it's
Ooh,
the
I
accent.
could
The
see him as
accent.
He totally should. Be.
No, Josh Brolin. I think he was like one of the he was one of the running, and I think he would have made a good Batman.
I think they should have brought George Clooney back,
George
or
Adam
or,
West.
Adam West at age 88 or something.
The
like
worst.
that.
At least they didn't pick Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
That would have sealed everything.
and then there's like
That
rumors.
would-
There's rumors that Ryan Gosling was also considered, and that's
I can
I
see.
can't see
I
Ryan
can see him as
Gosling.
as
Batman.
Batman. Like, come on,
I mean,
that's
he
like,
plays that anti-hero, but not like that kind of anti-hero. Well, Batman's not an anti-hero, but
I'm Batman.
He's not.
yeah, just like that.
He just stared out the window.
But like he talks like
Batman.
Marlon Brando sometimes, and I can imagine Batman talking like Marlon Brando.
John Wayne should play Batman.
But the thing with him being the Batman, though,
the
Batman,
Batman.
is that I just see like a higher chance of failure than success with Ben Affleck playing as Batman.
I think what makes me like, I mean, I think what kind of is the deal breaker for me is just his voice. Like, I mean, I guess I can see him like, but then I remember I think of his talking voice, and I'm like, his talking voice, I can't imagine it being like.
well,
Batman.
Batman doesn't have a lot of lines.
Well, I mean,
I'm Batman, and that's
Well,
it.
when he's Bruce Wayne,
yeah, it's Bruce Wayne, but like, and then as Batman, like, I'm trying to imagine like Ben Affleck's voice, like all gruffled like that. It doesn't.
Hey, get over here!
Get over here.
I got a batarang with your name on it.
give me the car keys. Give me the car
Where the
keys.
drugs going?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'm done with that one.
but I read a couple appeals though. Like, I think Joss Whedon made an appeal, and Patton Oswalt said something, and kind of made me.
Patton Oswalt's always making me appeal, though.
He's a cool guy though.
He's
I like
the
him,
appealer.
but
I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it'll be okay. I'm not. I mean, Man of Steel didn't blow me away, so it's like I'm not really expecting much.
I'm just mostly not excited for the fact that like they do have a Justice League planned. Because if Batman's a colossal, if like the Batman Superman movie is a colossal failure, then it's gonna ruin the Justice League, and then it's just gonna ruin my life.
I think the Justice League movie is like already like screwed.
It's not looking too good.
I know. I read something that it was like an article that, like it said, Christopher Nolan is either the best thing to happen to comic book movies or the worst thing to happen.
What is the worst thing?
I'd
Well,
say
because
he's the
like
worst
they go for like now everyone wants to go for the gritty, realistic, and grounded and
Raw.
stuff, and then you kind of like. It overshadowed a bit, like things like the Avengers. The Avengers.
The Avengers was not going for that.
No, I know. I'm not
was
saying going for
cartoony.
that because it's two different kinds of things, obviously. Like, because the Nolan movies are like grounded and gritty, but then Avengers it overshadowed.
Avengers and Iron
I think
Man.
Avengers it overshadowed like Avengers and Iron Man, which is like kind of what I would expect a typical like comic movie because it does get campy and glossy and it can be really fun, and so I can see that. But I also really like the gritty and realistic and grounded.
But I mean,
Everybody's
I feel like with Batman, it's more plausible to be real and gritty. I mean, it got an alien from space who landed on Earth. That's kind of a little hard to like. I understand like what you mean, but I'm saying like I would say Batman's probably one of the most plausible heroes to have.
Yeah, and he's always got like a really exciting like mentality.
Yeah.
Man of Steel could have been as good as Dark Knight. I made that appeal in my review.
In my review,
It really could have been.
enthusiast.
And
I am
just
a
wasn't.
writer.
Everybody's talking about Justice League, and I'm still sitting here waiting for my Deadpool movie.
Oh, you know
Did they green light that yet?
yeah,
'Cause I'm so just
like they've had scripts like worked on for a long time.
Yeah,
and
I feel like
it might not happen at this point.
I feel like it's one of those things that just keeps.
I'm so disappointed. Anyways,
Yeah. Sean, you said you had a recommendation this week.
yeah. Earlier this week, well, I mean, I saw two. I kind of have like a recommendation and an anti-recommendation.
Oh, really?
I saw two movies this week. I saw Easy Rider earlier this week. It's a 60s movie?
Yeah, I think it's
it's,
60s.
it's put in the 1960s. It's basically like this hippie movement kind of movie where it was Jack Nicholson's first movie that he's ever been in.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know
that.
it was the first movie he ever played in. He's young. Like, I had to take a double take because I was like...
what?
And it's Jane Fonda's brother, Dave Fonda.
workout instructor.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a Henry Fonda, but
Not
that's
Henry
her,
Fonda.
That's her dad.
That's her father, the brother. Dave Fonda or Paul Fonda, I don't know. Some kind of Fonda.
I want to meet that dad.
But it's basically, it's set in the 60s, and it's the story of, first it's two hippie-like people, and this kind of cowboy kind of guy. And they basically ride around on motorcycles and, kind of go through life, and then they drop one of the hippie guys off at a commune. And so far, it was going well. And then they meet Jack Nicholson's character.
What kind of commune? You?
Like a hippie
Oh,
commune.
never mind.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like...
Yeah,
I
geez,
don't-
what are the hippies
Pay
going to be dropped
attention.
off at? The hippie commune.
Idiot.
I don't know. It was... Basically, I'm not going to ruin too much of this movie, because a lot happens, especially near
Oh,
the
it's
end.
Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper.
Peter Fonda, okay, yeah.
With a little Jack... I'm looking at the poster with a little Jack Nicholson
Yeah,
font.
uh-huh. But it's like, I'm not going to ruin too much, because there is a lot to this movie, and if you're into kind of understanding... Because this movie actually opened a lot of understanding for me for how the 1960s were. Being of this era, I didn't know what the past was like. So this movie was certainly an eye-opener, mostly to the prejudice.
It says that this is a landmark counterculture movie.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. Is this a counterculture film?
Yeah, it's basically talking... Because they want to go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And once they get in the South, they're faced with a lot of prejudice because, the South is all clean-cut, that kind of style. And these hippies come in with long hair and beards, and they're like, why don't you get a haircut? And
I know, because what I know about it is that movie and Bonnie and Clyde were like really major movies in the 60s because it incorporated French New Wave and brought it to America.
I could see that. The movie itself it's I guess, enlightening to a point where it's like, oh, this is how the 60s and 70s were. But then, like, there's some powerful scenes in it, and a lot of emotions coming through it. And all in all, I don't really recommend this movie unless you're interested.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay for me, but that's because I'm not too into the culture that they were talking about. If people are into the culture, or want to know more, I definitely recommend this movie because it certainly gives you a kind of window through time.
Wait, and you're saying it sympathizes with them?
Yeah, it sympathizes
Okay.
with people who are more interested in that kind of
So it's not like just observant. It's like
No, it pretty much immerses you into like the hippie life.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
Into the communes and like the drugs and all that.
So what was you rate it then?
Personally, I'd give it like I'd give it a 3. Yeah, the 3's good because I like parts of it, and then like one of these scenes where they take acid really put me off because it was just like the way the camera work and all that was really nice. They actually gave you the kind of feel that you're in an acid trip. Like it kind of
Oh shit! I'm there now.
They basically play lots of voices and camera movements and multiple actions happening at once, and it's pretty much like I've never had one before, but it's giving you the the
sensation,
the sensation and experience of an acid trip, and it really put me off, and I was kind of dissatisfied.
I assume you liked Serpico a lot then, because I have that in my queue, and I know Al Pacino gives a really good performance in it, and I've been waiting to see that.
So my other recommendation for this week is Serpico. Serpico is a real. It's based off a true story. It's about this guy named Frank Serpico, as played by Al Pacino, and he is this honest cop amongst all of these crooked cops. How he comes up to be is at first he was a normal. Normal cop. I don't know what the different, like a silver shield or something like that, bronze shield, the very lowest of low. But as he wants to rise higher because he sees that he wants to do a lot.
Is he pretty much on his own the entire movie?
Yeah. He has 1 to 2 friends in the entire movie because of his actions in the forest.
Is it his wife and his dog, or his mom and his dog? Probably his mom and his dog. His only friends.
Well,
it's my only friend.
No, he breaks away from his family, and he, gets a sheepdog, and the sheepdog's part in the movie here and there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's not really, like, to him, that's not really it. I mean, he's basically on his own in this movie. He keeps asking for help from superiors, and they don't want to help him because they're
kind of
all...
like a Place Beyond the Pines.
Yeah, they're all tied into this...
That's what happens in this town.
No, everything just like it's so traditional. Like it's tradition.
Like is it kind of like stylish though? Like at all, like the film, or is it just pretty much kind of like a?
It's dramatized. I think a little bit. It could be. I think it is.
I mean, because I saw Dog Day Afternoon, which came out like a year before.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
I love Dog Day Afternoon.
Al Pacino was amazing in that movie.
Al Pacino's a good actor.
I have a feeling they probably filmed like they seem like similar movies. Almost.
I think they might be. I haven't seen Dog Day Denver. I don't know.
Dog Day
in Denver.
Columbus.
Elevation was too high. It died.
It's a story about a lovely dog that's lost in Denver.
Are you suggesting Afternoon's probably like a city somewhere? Because I highly doubt that.
Well, anyways, but yeah, Al Pacino's acting, and I think Lou Ferrigno. No, not Lou Ferrigno. In Drive. Who is the other guy? The tall guy with the chiseled face?
Are you talking about Ron Perlman?
Yeah, I think this is Ron Perlman. I think Ron Perlman's in this film as well.
Because
one of the actors, if Ron Perlman had like a Jufro,
I can imagine that,
or like a perm, and looked younger. I think that's him. I'm not too sure. I didn't check.
What would you give it then as a rating?
I'd give it a pretty good 4.
Pretty good 4.
Pretty good 4.
It's better than
it's better than a mediocre 4.
Yeah.
It's better than like a 4.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good 4. This is a pretty good 4.
I mean, there are parts of it, like some of the acting gets kind of weird here and there, but it's an older film.
Define weird.
It's kind of like cheesy.
Okay.
And it's understandable because it's of that time.
I mean, the 70s though was definitely like a kind of a golden age for acting.
Yeah,
I mean, movies in general. So like, I'm sure it's like a lot easier to take in like 50s.
Yeah, and the fact that this is all based on a true story kind of makes it a little bit more heartwarming. I'm not saying that, I'm going to critique this movie because it's a true story. No, I'm saying, like, the fact that it's a true story kind of encompasses, oh, wow, the times were really different back
It's not just, it's a true story. It's a true story.
Kinda. But it's like, so both movies I watched this week were, like, windows through time to see how the past really was. I got a picture of the 60s and the 50s up to the 70s, and then I got like to the late 70s and early 80s with Serpico. And I
Wait, does it span like 10 years? Or wait, how long? Oh, Serpico, when did that come out?
Serpico came out
79?
79, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it was very kind of just broadening my knowledge of the past.
That's
and, cool. In America, because knowing our history can help us know our future.
And I mean, I want to see more Al Pacino stuff because Al Pacino's.
I
like
recommend
Donnie
you watch
Brasco.
Insomnia,
I
but
haven't seen Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco is great.
I heard it was really good.
Oh yeah, no, I know a lot about that case too, because I just do, and
wow,
I just do.
I was in the file.
Yeah, and it was
Steven
like
Ian printed with
about Joe Pistone, who went undercover as Donnie Brasco, and you know what? I'll recommend Donnie Brasco.
Oh, you've seen
next
that?
time.
You've seen that movie?
Wow.
Let's
Go
recommend
on.
Donnie
Wow.
Brasco.
Pacino time,
With
huh?
Al Pacino, huh?
And Johnny
Serpico.
Depp. And Johnny Depp.
And
That's not Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp is in the movie.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
main guy.
he's
Oh.
Donnie Brasco.
Like-
Oh, okay.
dang.
So basically, Donnie Brasco is based on a true story about a federal agent who infiltrated the mafia. Because back then, like basically, federal agents going undercover were like, "Hey, pals, want to sell some drugs?" So then they got busted immediately, obviously. Hey, guy.
Hello. I would like
you
to.
like some
I would like to commit robbery with yous.
I would like to commit the drug partaking on the manufacture distrib. I want to sell drugs.
So like at the time they're like, okay, undercover doesn't work. This isn't working and all that stuff. So they decided, all right, we're sending a guy deep undercover. His name is Joe Pistone, and he was born in that neighborhood, so he could act like them. He wasn't gonna obviously be a narc. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but at the time, the mafia is like, oh, we can weed out anybody. You know, like
Smoke them out.
we can smoke marijuana. All these federal agents.
It's like a tent when you have to smoke out
Actually-
your bugs.
Actually, Serpico showed me a scene where it was a narcotics division, and they actually gave them sample marijuana so that they can know what it smells like, what the effects
sounds
are.
There was some pretty illegal shit that went down with Donnie Brasco.
That's pretty smart.
But yeah, so they have Joe Pistone. He came from the streets. He's from the area.
Streets.
So they have him infiltrate the gang, and basically there's basically like how you present yourself to like enter the mafia is like you're an associate. And what that is, basically, you're a criminal who's going to give them money for things. So he said he was a jewel thief. And so basically, like, there's a bartender. The bartender is, like, the middleman between, like, the associates and the mafia. So he goes to the bartender, and he gives him, like, a bunch of diamonds that the FBI gave him. And they're like, hey, make sure this gets to the right people and all that stuff. He's like, all right. So then he comes back, gives him, like, $600. So then, like, it's just, like, the relationship grows until he meets Al Pacino's character, Lefty. And Lefty takes a real shine to Donnie Brasco. Donnie Brasco is his fake name. And he takes a real shine to Donnie Brasco, you know. They're talking, doing all this stuff. And the movie was really interesting because, like, obviously, some stuff is dramatized. But it actually is, like, based a lot on what happened around the case. Like, there's one exciting part in particular where they go to a Japanese restaurant and it's customary you take off your shoes. Mm-hmm. He's wearing a wire. Probably shouldn't take off his shoes. So he's freaking out like, oh god, like they're gonna see the wire. So he's like, I'm not taking my shoes off, get out of here. And he's like, the other guy's like, no, you have to take off your shoes, And then like it gets to the point where like the mob guys are like, just take off your fucking shoes, dude.
Oh,
and they're just like, and he's trying to think, and then like he comes up with like a super clever story. He's like, I was born and raised in an orphanage. I was raised in an orphanage because these Japanese fucks killed my parents, and they're like, oh, that's why he doesn't want to do it. So then the guy's like, oh no, you have to take off your shoes, and they kick the shit out of him, and he had to watch it happen, or they're gonna kill him.
You know what? I think it's like really interesting.
Damn, that sounds like an intense scene.
That's
yeah.
pretty major.
You know, that reminds me of like The Departed, and I feel like when any movies with like an undercover person, it's just like that movie's gonna be driven through this really crazy internal conflict. Like Departed, that is so intense because you got two guys, like one guy infiltrating, the police department, one guy infiltrating the mob, and it's just like it's just so nerve wracking. And so I feel like that movie has
it's a lot of that because like in that movie they always keep that tension that like he may be he maybe found out, like, either it's a circumstance where maybe found out, or where, like, you kind of sense that someone else knows, and, like, they're implying it, like, oh, they didn't know. Whew, that was a close one.
That's kind of similar to Serpico.
Serpico!
And
Serpico!
like, they came out like a year in between.
Yeah, but yeah, like,
Yeah.
not spoiling the movie, obviously, but, I'm spoiling the case, if you will. It's a pretty popular case. So, all that stuff. But, yeah, basically what happens is, he, basically, like, he's about to be a made man, which means, like, you're part of the mob family. And, like, you get protection and all that stuff, and you're going to be insured for life, you're going to make a hell of a lot of money. But he had to kill a guy, so the FBI decided to pull him out, because they're not going to have someone kill someone.
Ooh.
For all that, just to get that far into the mafia. Like, that's where they drew the line.
How like, dramatized do you think it is?
I actually saw a documentary that was made recently, so they were talking about, like, the differences between the movie and, like, what actually happened. And they were saying that a couple things were a little dramatized, but for the most part, it was pretty accurate. So just, like, that kind of, like, just, like, nervousness, like, someone might know.
You know what movie I don't like? I don't like The Patriot. And I don't know, I feel like that movie's just so historically inaccurate. But that's not really why I dislike it. There's just some, like, the final, did you ever see that movie?
I've never seen The Patriot.
Is that with George Clooney?
No, it's Mel Gibson.
There's another one. There was a recent
I don't
one.
watch racist movies.
George
Snap.
Clooney? Not in a Revolutionary War movie, I don't
No, it wasn't revolutionary. He was like an assassin. George Clooney was an
Oh, The
assassin.
American.
American Patriot.
No, it's just American.
Close.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard that was...
But no
just-
Pacino.
Like, I read something that it was like, that movie had a similar, like, what is it? Not neo-noir, but it was... Like, art house action. And it said that, like, Drive was art house action, and then it compared it to that.
Really? I gotta
Boy,
watch
I
that
wish I
one.
knew what genres meant.
Yeah, so, the performances were great. I really appreciated Johnny Depp there. I don't appreciate him in Pirates of the Caribbean, really. But,
I mean, he's really charming.
yeah, exactly.
It just, as it's
50.
gone on, he has to throw out more and more, like, cheap, like, like, he's like, a lot less sophisticated than all the rest, because he's just there to, like, for the laughs now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like
but yeah,
50
like
now.
in this one, like you said, the charm really works because he's an undercover agent. You can see why everyone's trusting him because he's such a charming guy. He seems like he's from the streets and he seems like a tough guy and all that stuff. So and it was really funny too because like I was watching that documentary I told you and like there were so many moments where like he was basically like, all right, I'm either gonna die right now or I'm gonna get away with this. Like he would like have like talks with people and basically a talk and the mob is gonna try to kill you, and he's just like shit. But
what would you rate it?
Give it a 4.
4.
Give it a 4. I liked it. And
Sounds good.
Al
When did it come
Pacino.
out?
93. What?
96, I think.
What?
But,
I thought this one came out a year in between. Never
between
mind,
what?
Serpico.
Oh no.
Yeah. But
Johnny Depp wasn't even acting.
I don't
on
think
Serpico.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think
why I was like,
I
wait,
think it was a child.
this
but,
math doesn't add
but
up.
Al Pacino's character, speaking of Al Pacino, Serpico,
Serpico.
he was really good because, even though Lefty was like, he was the one who basically told him everything, like, he was the reason, like, they took down so many people in that case, but he was really a conflicted person because, like, like, this was his quote-unquote family, but he didn't feel respected, but he didn't want to leave because you're a family, you don't leave, you only die, you don't leave. So,
Wow.
you just see, like, this conflict this entire time, and him struggling with the fact that one, that he doesn't want to be there, 2, that other people sense it, and that's putting him in fear, and 3, the fact that he doesn't feel like he can leave. So he's
I
pretty
imagine you
conflicted.
get pretty good performance.
Great performance.
Flavia, you told me you had a recommendation.
You have a recommendation?
I do, and I'm going to make it quick
Sir
and to the
Flavia.
point.
You hit the floor.
How
I
dare
always
you?
hit the floor. That's my signature move.
Come on,
Anyway,
slam.
my
Find a new
finisher.
one.
That's my signature move. My finisher is I break the phone. So
Very expensive finisher.
I know.
Continue.
It's
Okay.
worth it. Okay, anyway, very quick one. It's a TV show. We've mentioned it before, and there's new episodes that have just come out. I think the 3rd episode is going to come out either on Monday or it's already come out. Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
New episodes of Breaking
BB.
Bad. The BB.
The BB.
Phenomenal show.
I finally saw the pilot the other day.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Wow.
Wasn't
The first season was
made
pretty
it.
slow.
I liked
saw the first
the
season.
pilot
first
was
and
great
the
though.
beginning.
That was a great pilot.
Like, like Flavio telling me that it picks up later, I was like, wow, I really appreciated the first season. Like, yeah, I thought it was really good.
The first
fact that he
season
said it picked up, I was like,
and
oh,
yet-
it's awesome.
yeah,
Like I kind of want to watch the first season because it's going to be
It's
so,
so-
freaking different.
It's
like
so dramatic. It's like,
Really?
oh.
no, dude,
Well,
like
here's-
just wait till second season. It gets so much more.
Okay.
But what's so crazy about this is like, what like I can if I were to watch the first season again, it would be like a completely different show almost because of how quickly
Yep.
and how crazy just things escalate. Like
Yep.
this show's just about escalation, and it's like you see Walter White as one. Like as in like one perspective, and then by the end, it's not even Walter White; it's Heisenberg.
Exactly. I
Which
totally
is not a spoiler.
agree.
That's just Heisenberg.
I appreciate
Well, I didn't know. I'm done.
That happens
No,
in the
no.
first season. There's 5 seasons.
Okay.
I appreciate that Breaking Bad is cutting it off at 5 seasons. It's obviously a huge series. They could keep it on going, but that would be very counterintuitive to drama. You can't have a drama
Well, I mean-
over a ridiculous amount of seasons. So they're just like 5. That's all we
I
have
mean,
to tell.
I feel like
we're not going to make things
That's
up.
I mean with Lost,
talk
like
to
season 2 and 3, they had to throw in a lot of filler episodes because they didn't know, they didn't know how long they'd be going on for, and so during season 3, like after they had like a break between like the first half of the season and the second half. After the first half, they asked like if they can finally get a cutoff date because they just want to have like a good story, for 6 seasons,
Yeah.
and that's what they did and it was just better and better and better. So I imagine that's how Breaking Bad
Like,
kind of
just
the
one
ending.
thing about the show is that everything about it is so fantastic,
Yeah.
in my opinion. The editing in the show is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography is incredible. Like, these shots are so creative. Like, it'll be just like just the way they start off the episode, or just the way they shoot like a specific scene. Like there was one episode. Did you see the fly episode?
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
1
it's-
hour long, and it was just they were killing a fly. That was the whole episode,
in the basement.
and it was so captivating. It was ridiculous. All they were doing is killing a fly.
Yeah.
That's
For what? I
Say
mean,
it, don't
you could
say it.
count it as filler. You could have counted that episode as filler, but I don't really see it as filler.
Yeah,
It's like an addition.
It was just and they have like these amazing things like they'll have like a music video. Like you remember the Mexican music video about it's like a narc music video in Mexico, like talking about the events that just happened.
Oh, really?
And it's like the start of the episode is that, and like it's so good. Like it's my favorite show. It's
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorite shows. Like I mean, like the critical acclaim of this show is well deserved, and this like last season. Because actually, it's all 5 seasons are on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
But part 2 of season 5 just started airing.
Oh, okay.
AMC, right?
I was
Yeah,
confused.
AMC.
I was confused. It
I was
sounded like it
confused
was
too.
the 6th season.
Yeah, because I was trying to look up 6th season.
2 of
Okay,
Yeah, it was
okay.
just part 2 of season 5. But man, like I just saw the first episode. Did you see it?
No,
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I know. I've been like,
Yeah, me too. But like that first episode, by the end, you're just like, ah!
Well, you definitely convinced me because I started watching it. I just said, I gotta.
I've been telling
I
you to
can't
watch
pretend-
this for
It's been in my queue for so
for
long.
months. I've been
Yeah.
telling you to watch
I,
it.
I only saw the first season, but like from what I saw, like I really enjoyed it. And
Well,
Flavio says it gets a lot better. So
Yeah, no,
I'm
like the
excited.
first season is actually really slow.
Yeah,
Like,
and so
it's
is
actually-
the beginning of the second season. That's what puts people off. Is I've actually had friends tell me like, I tried to get into it, but like I was so depressed at the beginning of the second
because
season.
like the first,
I was like, you gotta push through it. It's
Yeah.
so
I mean,
worth
that
it.
pilot didn't feel slow at all to me. So
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that's slow, then I'm pretty excited.
It took me about 2 weeks to finish the first season because I couldn't watch more than 2 or 3 episodes at a time. It just seemed really
It's
heavy.
hard.
It's really
It's
heavy.
really hard because you just sit
Like-
there and you're like, I was just impacted.
Have you
with
seen the
so
episode of the
much.
kid yet? The kid and the crackheads or no, the meth heads.
Oh,
Remember
you're
that?
talking about
I don't think I've seen that.
Isn't that like every episode?
Yeah.
Skinny Pete?
No, it wasn't. Like it was this kid that was like the parents were like these meth heads. It was the most powerful, emotional, destroying, like just craziest episode I've ever seen. You remember that? And the kid's watching the TV and he has no channels. I was like, ah! It was like there are parts of these
No.
shows that you will like literally yell at your TV. or just
I will
like
hold you to that. If I don't yell as much as you think I'm going to yell,
no, I
I'm
think
going
the
to be
most
disappointed.
impactful one is the girlfriend episode.
There's just so many. There's just so many. Like,
Okay,
I
I'm
think.
excited.
highly recommend it.
Yeah, I wanna
My
watch
favorite
You
TV
guys should
show.
continue. It's
And
more.
season 5, or it's the season finale now, or the series finale.
Mhm.
I should definitely download season 2 through 5 from Sweden.
No, it's on Netflix.
it's on
Yeah, it's on
Netflix.
Netflix.
All of
Not
it's
Netflix anymore.
Oh, you don't have
Okay.
Netflix anymore?
Okay.
gotta
Oh.
borrow.
Oh yeah, you know
But yeah,
actually,
get it
the
on,
only show I've actually been keeping up with, like that's on the air now, like finished or whatever, is the Newsroom.
Oh, I actually just finished the second episode because I saw your post on Facebook that said it's actually worth it.
It gets better.
Which episode does it get like more captivating?
Well, episode 3, it picks up. Episode 3 is actually a pretty like good episode, and then episode 4 they finally give because Maggie's been a terrible character.
Hate Maggie.
Oh, she's
like I actually like
This show has a lot of problems.
I was watching the second episode and I was like, I kind of wish like Maggie would die and then they just replace her. Like they just Maggie died. That's it.
Well, I mean, this show.
But I
this
mean,
show has a lot
in
of
the end of
problems.
the second episode, they're sending her off to like Africa or something.
Yeah, one of the first season, it had like its problems is like it only had one like really developed character, and that's it. And it had some issues like with some characters not really like Sloane, the Olivia Munn's character.
She's so attractive but so dumb.
Like I mean, she's supposed to be like the smartest person in the show, and
But
she's finally showing that. But the all first season, like it felt like they didn't know what they wanted her to be.
I wouldn't say dumb. She's just not a very good actress.
I'm so confused. So
She's not good
this
at
show is like a parody on news?
No,
No, it's not a parody.
It's basically, it's kind of, it's basically
No,
like
no.
Aaron Sorkin, like using this as an excuse to spit out all his political views.
Oh,
Like it takes
see.
place in the near past, and season 2 right now they're in the like Republican primaries.
They're the Romney Obama race.
Like right now, like there's a character who gets on like the Romney bus, and like they're in the season 1, like they say like. The main character calls the Tea Party the American Taliban, so they have like all this like backlash, and other networks hate them. So like when he gets on the Romney bus, like he is just like ostracized, and he is never able to get 30 minutes with the candidate, which is terrible. But I mean,
you know what I noticed something
Interesting.
that happens a lot in that show. It's like so like one guy will go to the boss. And be like, I want to do this story. And then the boss is like, no, you can't do this story. But I have all the facts. No, you can't do that. Yes, I want to do this. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. No, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. I want to 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 do it. You're passionate. You can do it. And I was like twice in one episode.
Yeah, that happens. But so the main plot like season 2 though, they have like Operation Genoa, and episode 6 that we finally
spoil it.
found out.
Don't
Like
spoil it.
how
Don't
the
you spoil
basically
it.
I'm in
episode
episode
6.
2.
Episode 6.
Don't
you
tell
find
me
out-
about episode 6.
You finally
I
found
don't
out.
want to know anything about episode
I'm not
6.
gonna spoil it, brah.
Expoil it. Don't expoil it.
But by episode 6, it's clear how the rest of the season comes. It's like episode 6, something happens, and I was yelling at the screen, and I'm excited because I've been doubting this show a lot. Like the first 2 episodes of the season are like the worst so far.
Is that enlightenment
It gets
music?
That was my screen.
Enlightenment.
But yeah, it was funny because I really enjoyed season 1 of the Newsroom, and then I watched the first episode, and I was like, I don't know if I want to get back into this. But your Facebook status,
Thank you.
hope.
Okay.
Yeah, first 2
Sounds
episodes are the worst. It
interesting.
gets better.
I'll have to...
It's
I'll check
go
I mean,
into
if
it.
you like lightning fast dialogue, Aaron Sorkin kind of cheats me. He's witty. Anyway,
Wit.
oh, I saw
Wit.
wit. Speaking of wit, I saw wit. Speaking of wit, I saw The World's End at the theater.
How was
You lucky dog, because I really want to see this.
Tell me,
For
tell me,
those of
tell
you
me,
who
tell
don't
me.
know, The World's
Didn't
End.
all 3 get 92% on
All 3.
RT?
Okay, yeah. So
All 3 of them?
the three flavors Cornetto trilogy is Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, and they all have 91% Rotten Tomatoes, and all very well deserved. World's End, it has like the same people: Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright directing. Edgar Wright's awesome, by the way. Anyway, so this Simon Pegg plays Gary. Well, basically, it's like a group of friends, the 5 of them, and he played like he was their leader back in high school, and so the movie is just about them going back to their hometown, and they're trying to finish an epic pub crawl, which is like them. They call it the Golden Mile, where they drink a pint at 12 pubs in a row
Dang.
and get to the end. The last one is called The
Wait,
World's
it's
End.
called a mile? But,
the Golden Mile.
But
The Golden Mile.
they don't go by miles. In
They go by
the-
kilometers.
Well, no, it's like
The golden kilometer.
Golden kilometer.
yeah,
that actually
that
sounds
makes
sexier.
sense. Yeah, I didn't. Wow,
But that's weird.
that's weird.
That's wait.
Maybe
Anyway,
they were trying to
anyway,
be American.
but basically, so they go to like pub to pub. Sam Pegg's character, he's been living in the past all these years. Like he was like on top in high school, he was a badass, and he's kind of the same way while his other friends have grown up and things like that. So he tries to get them back together. It's really cool because this movie has a really good supporting cast. Like the other ones, it's the best parts is like the interplay between Nick Frost and Simon Pegg because they're like the best friends characters.
They are best friends.
And in real life, they're best friends. Yeah.
IRL.
But like then this one you have Martin Freeman, the guy who played Bilbo and Hobbit.
Yes.
And he's
like
Watson and Sherlock.
Well, Martin Freeman's always has been in all 3 movies.
Yeah,
He's
no,
a funny
Just,
guy, right?
yeah.
just as
he
like
had cameos.
little cameos.
He has cameos in the first 2, but he's a supporting guy in this. Eddie Marsan, if you see him, you'll recognize him. He's had a lot of like, supporting roles in like other movies. And one other guy I don't know his name, and then a really cute chick. But yeah, this is actually a science fiction movie too because they like find out like they get to the town. And,
Yeah.
like, everyone's kind of like a robot thing.
From the
Reveal.
previews, it seemed like they were aliens.
Yeah, but the cool thing is you don't really you don't get the sci-fi element doesn't come out until like I don't know, like a half an hour or more into the movie.
Wow.
So by that point, if you went in thinking okay, thinking okay, Sam Pegg did it, it's gonna make it fun of sci-fi. Okay, let's go in. But it doesn't. By the time it gets to the sci-fi, it took a long time, so you kind of forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it comes out of nowhere, and it's great.
That's
good.
nice.
And,
I like
you know,
that.
It's
Rather
very
be
very witty.
expecting it, so yeah.
Yeah, this one though, it's like, parodies like sci-fi and end of the world kind of. Yeah, it's less of a comedy than the first 2 movies. Like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead is really witty and it had like a lot of hearty moments that like it was a little like, kind of serious and but mostly comedy. This one has a lot of that wit. It's just so fun and the banter, and you have like Edgar Wright. The way how he films in these movies is like so energizing. A lot of like close-ups, like when every time in the movies when he like characters fill up like a beer or something, he always like shows the camera like from the cup's perspective, and it's like, and it shows him drink it.
Nice.
But this one is funny because like Nick Frost's character, he doesn't drink any beer, so it does like 4 beers in one water, so it's like like
Very charming.
It's so cool about Edgar Wright's like movies like this and like Hot Fuzz and whatnot, and Scott Pilgrim. Like he puts so much like energy into them. They're really fast. It's really great. But this movie, it's actually got a few more dark elements that makes some of the serious moments a little bit more serious than you kind of expect. But it's really, really good. Like as a conclusion to this trilogy, it's awesome. I will say though, the ending is the most questionable thing. Because the ending,
Questionable how?
getting
We
towards
just weren't satisfied.
getting towards the ending, like around like the climax, like there's some like themes that get brought up that were kind of never hinted before earlier. So kind
Friendship.
Friendship is magic.
of, I feel like
Wow,
Forbidden love.
no.
more like
We're done.
yeah, more like cultural stuff.
This podcast is
But
over.
like yeah, they like hint some stuff, and it didn't really resonate so. But I mean, it was okay. Like it still like ended up in a really really funny fashion. But it's like the resolution, it feels like it kind of drags on, and it feels like they kind of pay homage to like a Mad Max kind of thing at the end, but it feels like it was kind of rushed into like because they just really wanted to pay homage to that post-apocalyptic movie so bad, but they couldn't really figure out a good time to throw it in, so they kind of like squeezed it in the end.
Isn't Mad Max becoming a video game?
Yes.
Probably.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that is.
Probably.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still really, really good. Like, you guys should see it.
Yeah, I'm so down.
I give it
to
4
see this
stars.
movie.
I gave
I
all
wanna
3 of
see
them
it.
4 stars.
4?
They're just like they're such a good time.
4
And you should
stars.
just like see it seeing it with the group is just like I think that's just the best way. I didn't really go in a group, but it'd be really great to go in a group.
Yeah, we should do
Like
it.
this is like a bro movie.
We should go see it.
Let's bro it up, guys.
Let's brew it up.
Let's bro it up.
Bro it up.
So,
Okay.
so wait. So the main thing you said was that the ending was kind
The
of
ending was really questionable.
It's a real shame. that the ending was in that good.
Podcast is over.
Well, I guess Steven's out.
Well, no one cared about his opinion
You're gonna hear
anyway.
from my lawyer.
Dang it, we can't use
You're all sued.
we can't use his name now. We gotta change it. So that was Mark.
You're all sued.
That was Geraldo.
That was
Geraldo at
Steedling.
large.
That was Steedling.
On
That was
scene.
Steedling?
That was Steedling.
Okay, well,
What is he like, baby Steven? Hey, Steveling.
We very subtly, we just
Steedling.
just changed
Like
it
a
up.
birdling?
okay. Well, in case you guys don't know what shame is,
It's a sin.
shame is. It came out in 2011. It stars Michael Fassbender and Carey Mulligan. Directed by
see you're naked.
Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen, by the way, not Steve McQueen, the old like action actor.
The king of cool.
This Steve McQueen's black and not that guy from the 70s.
He's not cool because he's black.
And
is
this
that
guy,
it?
his
You
previous
heard it
movie,
here, folks.
he's therefore
What's the Spike Lee?
yeah. But this is his second movie. His first movie is Hunger with Michael Fassbender also, and it was a bit more experimental than this one.
Are all his movie titles just one word?
I'm starting
No.
to see a trend
His
here.
new movie.
Hunger, shame. These are all like negative emotions.
Procrastination.
Here we go.
Hunger isn't an emotion.
His new movie is called 12 Years a Slave. Done. Cycle broken. Done.
I wasn't saying
No.
it was an emotion.
At the
It
very,
has emotional
at the very
ties to
last
it.
second, they rename it 12.
What's this about? A
Then it
12-year-old?
just becomes just two. We gotta keep
Point
it simple.
4. Point 4.
Yeah. Okay. So, Shame's about a guy, New York. He's got pretty good job, great as Steven put it, very contemporary apartment.
Very contemporary.
I like
Dude, that was very contemporary.
was-
You know, his apartment reminded me of the apartment in American Psycho.
Oh yeah, I haven't even seen it, but I know what his apartment looks like. Wink, wink.
Huh. I don't
So
even-
it's about Brennan. He's a sex addict, and he masturbates a lot. He looks at porn a
He
lot.
masturbates a
Like
lot.
his hard drive and his work is
They had
filthy.
to take it out because they're like,
There's too many
"Dude,
viruses
we,
in it."
We found so much porn
It's
on
like-
your laptop.
There was double penetration. There was
much
there was
porn.
interracial.
There's
Yeah,
interracial,
interracial anal, double anal,
Double.
Yeah, he said double anal.
double penetration.
And then, at the very
And
end, he's
double.
like, we didn't even know some of this stuff existed.
That was no. He said, "I don't even know what that means."
No,
It was
Pie.
post
He was talking
avant-garde
about Green
interracial.
Pie.
Yeah, but yeah, and he's like, he kind of played it off because
I liked how he looked at him. He was like deer in
Yeah.
headlights.
Dude, that look
It
that
was-
he gives people, he's just like,
it's very seductive.
No, but for this scene, after he said, "Yeah,
That's
we don't
how it
know how it got there," and he was like, "Yeah, how did it get
so
there?"
basically, he's a sex addict. He a typical night, he just goes out and gets laid a lot.
pays for expensive
Laid a
hookers.
lot.
Expensive hookers.
As
He just
me
doesn't
and
get laid a
Steven
lot.
pointed out,
Very expensive hookers. Yeah.
1,000. We think it was $1,000 bucks
1,000 large for a hooker? You kidding me?
because she was like sliding it, and you could hear her slide it like
Yeah.
10 times. And if you think of 10 billfolds, that's
Unless it's just $1 bills.
$10. She's counting. Yup. It's all here.
if I could count to 10, my first grade education paid off.
$10. All right, let's do this.
Anyway,
Get ready
so-
for the night of your
So
life.
basically, the plot gets going
When he had a coupon.
when he had a coupon.
Get a Groupon.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
God.
So-
Anyways,
The plot gets going when his sister Sissy.
Yeah, that's his name. Is that really your name?
That's your
Yeah.
name.
Okay,
That's
well,
such a
they're from
stupid
That's a
Ireland.
stupid name.
Yeah, but
from Ireland.
so stupid.
There's
That was racist.
Sissy,
I'm
but
sorry,
it's just
I
so you know,
was
it is a name. Okay, so his sister
What if it's
comes
short
in.
for something?
His sister
Cecilia.
comes
Chrysanthemum.
in, and he finds her in his apartment, and she doesn't really have any place to go,
Naked.
so she's
Don't
staying
skip
in
that
there.
part. We see Carey Mulligan naked.
You see a lot of people
in this
naked. You see
movie.
him naked,
But it was her.
You see,
Michael
dog.
Fassbender's hanging dong.
You almost
All
said
over
Mr.
the place.
You said almost. Wow, you almost said Michael Fassbanger.
Fast banger.
Ah!
There we go.
Freudian slip.
It was nice to see Carey
You want to
Mulligan
slip
naked,
under the
though.
covers with your mom.
What?
That's a Freudian slip.
Wow.
Michael
Michael
Fassbanger.
Fassbanger.
Fastbanger. Yeah.
That's actually a cool name. I like that. We're
Yeah.
keeping that.
I like
Michael
He
Fassbender.
is a good-looking guy. Holy
Yeah,
crap.
he's very attractive. Magneto.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really attractive as Magneto, too.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's a,
I felt
he
for
is,
him.
he is
in
a
that
phenomenal actor.
He was really
I think
good.
so too.
This
He
movie-
did such a good, wow.
Dramatic role. It was very
Yeah.
very good dramatic
This
role.
movie, actually, he got snubbed from the Oscars that year. He got nominated for the Golden Globe, but when it came to the Oscar, there was Brad Pitt nominated for Moneyball. Should not have been
Ah,
nominated.
whoosh.
More like
Moneyball.
lowball.
That was a great movie, but come on, no.
More like phony baloney, am I right?
Gary Oldman got his first Academy Award nomination that year, which is crazy, but he was amazing anyway. But
Gary Oldman
I think,
hasn't
and
had
then
an Academy Award.
I like
George
Gary Oldman.
Clooney almost won it,
For what?
George Clooney was really good in Descendants, but the person who won that year was Jean Dujardin for The Artist, which I think he deserved. But the person that bumped Michael Fassbender out of the category was the Dark Horse. His name is like Damien Belcher or something.
So he didn't even get nominated for this?
Yeah, like this Damien, whatever his name is, they threw him in there, I believe, just because they get good points for throwing in a Latino, because the Latinos don't never get nominated. So that's crazy. But Michael Fassbender, I think he deserved the Oscar that year because he was amazing in this movie. What do you guys think?
It was phenomenal. I
I thought this movie was really, really interesting. Like,
Tell me about it.
no.
Yeah, no.
I'm just gonna get a hammer. I'm gonna get a javel.
A
Ding,
javel.
ding, ding, ding.
Gavel.
A google. I'm gonna get a gobble.
It's a gavel.
Gavel.
But,
It's a gavel. See?
Gavel.
It's a gavel.
It's like GIF to GIF.
Gavel. It's
No, it's not.
not
I'm
gavel.
pretty sure it's gavel.
Yeah, it's not javel. Like, why would you ever... Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, I thought this whole movie was fascinating. Just a character study of a sex addict. Like, I mean, if you look at it in one perspective, he's very successful. Like he's working. I don't know, what was his job.
I think he was
didn't
like
really define it. He was probably like
a
not
business-
broker.
Something with computers.
it was like a business firm. So
but
something
he
about
worked on an open floor though. Like, where's other people in your office though? So
it might have been like a business firm or some sort. Anyways, the job's not important. I mean, what
But,
happens at the job is important.
But yeah, like in one, like if you look at it in one perspective, like he's very successful. Like he has a great job, and a very, very hip job. Like he goes to very cool bars. He's got lots of money. He's
His
got
friend,
fancy
his quote,
suits.
quote,
friend
friend
is the worst.
Friend slash
Okay.
boss.
I couldn't believe that scene. I was like, who does that?
That guy was such a
Who
dude.
does that?
he was awful.
As Steven
Oh, yeah,
pointed out,
yeah, Steven.
unintentional wingman.
He was the unintentional
Oh, yeah.
wingman.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was just so awful that he got Michael Fassbender laid.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, he was so bad at talking to people. Oh my god.
I was,
Yeah.
He did a little bit better with Carrie.
Mulligan.
Mulligan.
Sissy.
Carrie.
Sissy.
Mulligan.
Yeah.
But Sissy, like, he was a little bit more suave, but he was such a dick. Who does that? Like, who sleeps with... They'd be like, they'd be sleeping with your sister, like, and then
Hey,
maybe
man.
out right in front of you.
Yeah, because that's
you know?
exactly what
yeah,
happened.
that was
Yeah.
very rude.
It's
And
not
then-
even a
and
simile.
then-
That's you just change the names.
He changed the names around.
But then he did it, like, in his apartment, too.
I mean,
no, they screwed in his room.
On his bed.
That is
On-
insane.
But like, yeah, I thought it
Sounds
was
like
just
a
very
college
fascinating, and I don't think this is a movie. I think there's only one thing that can be spoiled in this, but it's not even a big deal. But I'm not gonna say it though.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, well, I think I thought it extremely fascinating. But I think one of the most important parts of this movie was when he was trying to better himself. When he
threw out all the
when he
porn.
was because his sister like caught him like masturbating, and he was like obviously like on edge, and he was like going up to her like, who sent you, da da da, and he's like he's getting
No, he was,
Who sent you?
Why
Who
are
sent you to search me masturbating?
yeah. He was like,
Who
he
was
was like,
it?
he was like, why are you here? To like, he was
Why
like
are you
snapping
here?
at her.
Why
Give me
are
a
you
name.
Like it's because like he
Who
was like
Why do they want to know if I masturbate or not?
Well, see, I mean, as we were pointing out earlier, like, there's this odd interaction between siblings, because it's like, they see each other naked
It's
too
vaguely
much.
Okay.
incestual. Vaguely.
It's no.
I could go with that. I could go with
Here's
that.
why, because they didn't like react to it like in any like ways. He wasn't like looking at her like, and they
He was
they were
staring
like
right at
so
her.
indifferent about it that it just didn't like seem weird.
She starts laughing at him when he's masturbating.
Yeah, and then
Well, yeah, because
and then-
it's like embarrassing. He's like, oh god.
And then after he snaps and asking who sent you, he starts hanging dong again. And she doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
But that's
I mean,
not the important
and
part, though. Like,
another
he was
thing,
hurting her, and
Yeah,
he was
I
like,
know,
he
I'm just
snapped.
saying.
You know?
another thing is that they were born in Ireland, different culture.
Okay.
Different
Wow,
culture.
okay,
Actually,
so
it
it's
didn't say
okay.
that. It didn't say she was born in Ireland.
Yeah,
They were
only
both
he
raised in
was.
Jersey, though.
Oh.
Anyway,
But there was a good insight to this movie. Like, a lot of people have been commenting, like, if he had just... Because I think there's this huge sexual tension between him and his sister. And, like, if
Interesting.
he had just screwed his sister, I think all of his problems would have gone away.
Well, hold on. I want to hear this. Like,
You know, you know what, Sean? That took a lot of courage. I want to back you up on this.
Well, I mean, because yeah. Technically, that logically that makes sense because like
The Review Locker promoting incest.
Logistically,
yeah, logistically it makes sense
2013.
because she's like the got the plot going because like you can't have sex anywhere like when your sister's there like that's just like that pushed him to like have to it just pushed him off. You know, he had to go find other means.
Yeah.
And because sex is like it was a drug to him, and it was like shameful.
Okay, I need to hear more on that.
You want me to explain?
I think it's
I'm backing you up, Sean.
Want me to explain?
I mean, I hinted some sexual tension, but at the end of the day, I just kind of realized
Well,
that it was just like just a
okay.
protective.
Well,
What I said, like, it was not. I don't think it's sexual tension. I just said it logically. It makes
So here's my theory on the why Michael Fassbender wants to bang his sister. Not actual Michael Fassbender, just to throw that out there.
Michael Fassbender,
not his real sister.
Yeah,
Okay.
That is real sister. I don't know if he's got a sister. I'm sorry, Miss Fassbender.
sense.
Anyways,
Are you single?
Anyways, so a lot of times in this movie, there are like these moments where him and his sister have this kind of sexual tension. There's like when they're on the couch, when she wants to snuggle with him in bed. I know that seems very family-like, but if you take from their arguments, there seems to be some kind of past aggression. And I feel that Michael Fassbender's character, Brennan, becomes a sexual addict is because he's been so attracted to his sister. And later in the movie, when he talks about how he thinks marriage is impossible to love someone, is because I feel like his heart has been permanently broken because he cannot have a relationship with his sister.
That's a really interesting theory.
And, you know, he no longer can have what's seen as like a pure relationship. Later in the movie, I don't know if this is a spoiler,
It's not a spoiler.
with the girlfriend, with the semi-girlfriend, with his coworker.
When he starts crying?
That's okay, yeah.
That was such an awkward scene. I felt bad for him.
With his coworker,
really bad for him.
he takes his coworker to a hotel, and you can tell that he really cares for her, but he's drawn back because he still has these lingering emotions for his sister.
You know,
That's what disallows him from having meaningful
that's a
sex.
really interesting theory. I don't agree with it, but I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. I didn't think about that. But
that is a very well thought out.
To support that, Sean, to support that, I noticed that like the sister, a lot of the times when there was obvious like tension between them, not like sexual, just like they were angry at each other, that she always craved physical contact. Like, after she had sex with his boss, she cuddled in his bed. After that argument, she asked to give him a hug. After he said that she could stay in his apartment, she jumped on him and kissed his neck.
I think that just goes along with her character though, because she's depressed and she's been depressed for obviously for a long time. All the cuts in her arms. She's dependent on a lot of people. I think that just goes along with her character because I don't really think there's like that sexual tension, but I think that they're just they're just brother and sister because I don't really think there's a lot of like emphasis or any like real hints of like sexual tension.
Well, to continue on side B of this record.
Or
to continue from side B. So I gave you Michael Fassbender's look. Now, Carey Mulligan's perspective on this, as Stephen was mentioning, she's very physical. Michael Fassbender is very emotional when it comes to dealing with his sister, but she is very physical, as in she likes to show her love within a physical manner. And because I feel that she also wants to have sex with him as well, because she's dependent. She's become dependent over so many years. She calls her brother so many times in the beginning of the movie. She calls him, she needs a hand, yes. But, she has no one else to call. She doesn't have any girlfriends to call. She doesn't, she's in a fit with her boyfriend, but she continually calls her boyfriend. And I feel like this dependence was created because I feel like in the past there was some kind of family something or other that happened that caused them to move from Ireland to Jersey, and then the parents were no longer around. So it was just a brother and sister. Now, if that became incestuous, there's this kind of forbidden fruit between the two. Both of them are kind of stuck in this paradigm that they cannot have sex with each other because it is forbidden. It's incestuous. It's always been this kind of
and to go along with that, the fact that he constantly ignored her as a sex addict, that would lead me to believe that he does want to have sex with her, but doesn't want that opportunity to arise. He never wants her around ever.
Yeah, because he's completely stuck. He's physically stuck. Because you can notice this. I don't know if this was a change in trend, but you can notice from the sure, he was sleeping with a lot of women in the beginning, but it was like here and there. It wasn't that monstrous. But as Kara Mulligan character came in, you can see his patterns change.
Like
he
accelerated?
he actually gets more frustrated. He gets more sexual and promiscuous.
Oh, okay, I can see that, like with the bar scene,
Yeah,
and then the gay scene,
yeah.
and then the three-way scene.
I think
with
that's
that
just,
lovely music.
Like I think it's just. I mean, because I see this movie just as really just a character study, so I don't really. I'm looking at them just as individual characters, like what they do and support for each other, and I don't really think that's what it is. And not that I think that's a really interesting theory, but I just don't agree. But
Well, that's fair. I mean,
I think what's most notable about this movie is just like how this director kind of gets into the heads. Because it's character studies. A lot of like directors would use like various techniques to get into like their psyche, and so this movie did, I think, a pretty good job. I think one of the most significant scenes was when earlier, like what I mentioned was when he was trying to better himself. He got rid of his porn and stuff, and he calls back that his coworker, and he actually wants to try and make it work. So like when he was about to have sex with her, like he was taking it slow. Like he normally is like into like the kinky stuff and like like the hardcore stuff and like
Yeah, but I thought he was going at a steady pace.
the thing is the problem was he was going slow because he wanted to make it meaningful, but he wasn't getting a boner like that. It wasn't working as much as he wanted to better himself. Like he saw that as bettering himself, but it wasn't working, and that was making him more frustrated. And then she left. And then,
did you interpret that scene as him not being able to get a boner and then he couldn't sleep with her? I kind of saw it as him just being so frustrated that he didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Oh no, he couldn't. I don't think he couldn't get an erection.
I feel like to him, there's a difference between making love and having sex. Like he is disallowed from being able to make love because this comes back to my argument that there's this incestuous thing going on. He's unable to make love. He's able to have sex because what I mean, there's two different meanings to this. Having sex is just the physical action of it. You can have meaningless sex with anybody. That's sex. Making love, on the other hand, has emotional ties to it. Mm-hmm. You're having sex, but it's with somebody you deeply care about. And as he's trying to care about this person, he can't, and that's why he's stuck.
Because with her, like there was when they first went out, like the emphasis on their date was that, they were starting to become like a little rift on their date when they were like had disagreement about marriage and stuff, and that's like we got to see his viewpoint, and so next time you see her, he goes along with her viewpoint because he with Sissy, that's been like he knows with Sissy, like that's been pointing out like his own problems, and so now he wants to just try to work on it. But the sad part about it, like I found it really sad that as he was he was like putting in he was really trying. He said, okay, I'm going to go with this girl and I'm going to go make this romantic date with with that hotel room. I think that's just kind of his skewed version of romantic because he saw like that couple like screwing on that like window, so he wanted to like imitate it.
Yeah.
But because he's not really one for like long term and like romance and whatnot, that was like his skewed idea. So he took her up there.
And it worked.
But not exactly because he tried. Because I think he just tried to take it slow and try to find something more meaningful, but it wouldn't work. Like I think he.
And then he suffered the other girl.
Like literally, with him not being able to get an erection. I think that was just. I think that was a device to show like in his head that it's not that easy.
But see, I forgot about this, and it just occurred to me. Why does he do coke?
Oh,
I forgot about that scene.
Before he gets serious with his coworker, he does a line of coke, and it's just like, what is the necessity of this? I feel like he's trying to. I feel like he wants to put emotion into it, but in the end he can't create it, and so he has to find an artificial means.
Yeah, I think that was I think the coke is probably like a means for him just to like get through it because it's taken a lot of effort, and it doesn't, and eventually it doesn't work.
Exactly.
And then he has to call like the call girl to like have something messy and not like
stop
just so he can get off, which is the thing that is such a strain on him now. Like that his sister being there, helped him realize that that's like it's such a burden on him, and now he's like when you see him later on, like when he relapses after like he's him and his sister get in a fight, and you see like his face when he's having sex, and he's just in pain.
Well,
He's just like hating himself. It's like
my
I thought that was
argument
really a big moment.
Well, and the argument on my side for that is just the reason why he's crying is because he's going to lose his sister again because he has to push her away. Because he can't create anything from that relationship because to him and her it's forbidden. So he's constantly in pain and hurting since he can't like do anything. And so by the end of it, when he finds out that she's going to leave, he's truly hit rock bottom because like the person that he's in love with, that he can't admit that he's in love with, is going away. And then I don't know if you want to get to the final part.
I don't want to get to what happens there, but
okay.
Like
because my argument
I think
finalizes into that.
I thought like
it manifests itself in such a way.
I think though this movie would have. I mean, it was an interesting choice to have like very little music and like all the like really long takes, which is really cool because like
I love the running take.
Yeah, I love
the running takes.
I love
are
those
very,
tracking shots like of him
fulfilling.
running. That was really cool. I like that a lot.
The ambiance between no music and music is interesting because it sets up scenes within the movie, such as like when there's no music. Usually, when somebody's talking, there's of course. I mean, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but like meaningless parts that don't really move the plot.
Oh, you mean? Wait, are you saying the talking is not very important?
Kind of. I feel like the music plays into this kind of.
I think the music was extremely effective. Like when they got to his relapse thing, and he was like starting to hit rock bottom. I thought that was extremely effective, and I kind of after like seeing that, I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of that score like earlier on. But I mean, it was interesting to to choose not to have.
Well, it's like usually music would pop up during the sexual scenes, during the intercourse scenes, because I don't know what the director was trying to do at that point. I think he was trying to find some kind of like dissonance, doing a sin mixed up with like a classical piece is kind of like mixing in yin and yang. It's like you've got the evil, the sin of one side, and then you've got like peace and goodness on the other side, and you're kind of blending in this idea of
I think it was
beautiful destruction.
Oh, that's neat.
If I may say something.
Beautiful destruction, yeah.
Oh, well, like the way I saw this film was a character study, of a sex addict, obviously. And I interpreted the whole sister-brother relationship as different. Like, I kind of saw, her being his motivation to change, Like in his life, he's just had sex with these people, and I feel like he almost doesn't really care about the people he's having sex with, And even though, like there's that conflict between him and his sister, like by the end of the film, you see that he truly does care about his sister.
Yeah.
Like he truly has these feelings towards his sister, and I feel like
Wait, what kind of feelings? Is this like platonic brother sister?
Like brother sister.
Okay. I agree with him.
I thought I was going to have another contender.
Well, yeah.
So wait. Let me finish.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
So let me finish. So yeah, and then like I said, I felt like that was his motivation to stop until he kind of like loses it towards the end. But it's really interesting, to think about, your theory, because it does make sense. Like you have a lot of evidence to back up your claim. But I guess my question is, if that's true, then I not necessarily what's the whole message of this film, if that's that's the point. Like
if that's
the point where like he should have just had sex with his sister, and if there's all this sexual tension between him and his sister, and that's really what the movie's about, and not the character study of a sex addict, like what is the point? What's the message?
I feel like instead of trying to symbolize what a sex addict, I mean, there is that part. Yes, I agree that the director does show there's this. He is a sex addict. Yes, that's the main point. But it's the reason why he's become a sex addict is what kind of drives the movie. The idea behind the incestuous argument is that he becomes a sex addict because he has to replace this hole where he can't have. It's kind of like I want to say it's kind of like a ghost. You can see it, but you can't touch it. You know, it's kind of, or like, I guess, like an art piece, in a museum. You can view it, yes, you can view it poetically, artistically, however you want to view it, but you are not allowed to touch it. It is behind glass or something. You know, you can only see, and you cannot physically be able to grasp it, taste it, do whatever you want.
So that's the sister?
Yes. The sister is the art piece. Or at least, like, the idea of a relationship that cannot be no matter what.
Wanting something you can't have.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it boils down to.
So that's a theme.
I think that's an interesting thing to, like, think about, like, the whole, like, cause of, like, why, like, he kind of developed this, you know, drug, you know, like, that it's to make up for something else. But I just, I think it's just more just a character study, just getting into, like, a psyche, and, I mean, towards the end, you know, she says, like, you know, we're not bad people, we just come from a bad place.
Oh, I had a question about that. See, when she said that, when she said, we are not bad people, we come from a bad place, it made me start thinking, maybe for a second, that she might have also been a sex addict.
I know,
I mean, there wasn't evidence to back that up, but I started questioning, like, we aren't bad people. Like, does that mean she's a sex addict?
I think she believes. Well, no, she's not a sex addict. Her problem is she's depressed, and she's
dependent.
She's dependent on people. And she's emotionally, you know, not really stable, and she's, you know, she gets depressed a lot.
Yeah.
Well, the idea kind of splits into two. My idea of you can't get what you want kind of splits into two ways, because both characters, Sissy and Brennan, go down separate paths from this route. The first being Brennan. He wants what he can't have, so he has to replace it with something else.
Which is sex.
Which is sex. You know, he wants to, instead of being able to make love to his sister, he has to have meaningless sex with people he doesn't know. He has to masturbate a lot. He has to watch porn to create this artificial love.
And then Carrie?
Oh.
And
Sissy?
Yeah,
Sissy. Sorry, keep
Carrie's,
going, Carrie.
Carrie's,
Sissy.
Carrie Mulligan.
Yeah, Carrie Mulligan's person. Yeah. Sissy, what she does is she replaces it with emotion, and the
replaces what with emotion?
Well, you know,
she has
it points out earlier on in the movie.
Replaces what with emotion?
Early on in the movie, when you see her, it's referred to that she has, like,
so
she's cut herself
earlier
on
in
her
the
arm.
movie.
She's got cuts.
I almost thought I was going into a spoiler, but early on in the movie, Brennan's boss.
Douchebag.
Yeah,
Douche-faced
douchebag McGilligan.
Douche McGee. Douche nozzle.
Points to her, is like, he like grabs her wrist, and he's like, well, what are these? And he's referring to these cuts on her arm.
Scars.
You know, and if anyone's gone through like a depressing phase,
and she kind of rides it out.
yeah, this kind of Sissy's side of the you can't get what you want is major depression. So you have replacement with something that's arbitrary and meaningless, and you also have depression because you're stuck. You're stuck on thinking about, I'm never going to get this, never. And that instead of moving on from it, she's
wait. So you're saying what she wants is his brother?
Yeah,
is her brother?
but she can't have it.
How do you interpret the very last scene then?
The very last scene
with the girl in the subway.
I feel like, because originally he sees the engagement. If you guys watch this movie, there is this engagement ring that this lady is having on the bus,
and she has
the tram.
She has a wedding ring on and an engagement ring in the beginning of the movie.
So this means that she's engaged.
In the very last part of the movie.
In the last part of the movie, she doesn't. And I feel
she only has the engagement ring, not the wedding ring anymore.
But see,
was it the same girl?
Yeah.
So here's what I got. Here's what I think happened. He doesn't chase her at the end. He chases her in the beginning, however, because there is this. It's the want what he can't have.
Well, yeah, but like no, I'm saying at the end though.
Engaged.
I'm saying at the end though, because it's a different take of it.
And
I'm not asking about like whether or not he does it at the end. I don't think that's really relevant. I think it's like just how, you know, I think at the end, it's kind of, message kind of points out that, I think this movie, favors him, like, that, it points out that you gotta, put in kind of, like, effort to, like, push yourself out of it, and, it's kind of, it's really hard, but, as much pain as it causes trying to get out of it, or, stay in it, you just gotta know deep down that, like she said, we're not bad people, we're just coming from a bad place, and so, this ending, I think, is mostly about, well, okay, then, like, he's faced with that temptation again, and now we know, like, from the movie, the whole, everything prior to this, we know how far it can go and how bad it can go. So I think the ending is more about, like, well, he can either act on it and continue what we've already been seeing, or he can not act on it and he'll grow.
That's exactly how I interpreted it.
Well, the way I see it is, instead of him going after it, it is temptation. But here's the idea of you can't get what you want. However, there's this flip side to it. Like, if there's something you want and you get something kind of like not as good or not as what you want, not as equal to what you want, then replacing it doesn't exactly fulfill it. But you have to keep up kind of like a means. You have to replace it with stuff that are seemingly close, yet somehow dig the hole deeper. Hold on.
Okay,
sorry. I'm going nowhere with this argument until I show the actual evidence. The part when he chases her because she has the engagement ring is the first, if not initial, test of his being able to want what he can't get. Or get what he can't have. Because he knows that she's engaged, and she's giving him the signs, and he chases her because that is the fruit of temptation. He's very tempted to go after this because it's something he cannot have, because somebody else owns it. But at the end, he's turned off at the idea, because she is available now. And he no longer sees her as kind of some kind of trophy to a competition. She's no longer part of this temptation. Sure, she's free and available, but so was his coworker.
I think she's actually more tempestuous at the end. Like, I think what that's supposed to be is, like, kind of digging into his head more, like, at the beginning, like, she was just another girl, so yeah, he was attracted to her, regardless of that. But, like, at the end, he's been through a lot of shit, but I think at the end, he's, after everything he's been through, he's trying to better himself, so when he sees that, I think it's just kind of trying to get into his head about, like, when you start trying to, like, get away from it, the withdrawals, temptation is even harder than ever, and I think that's her being even more tempestuous than she was in the beginning, because, she doesn't have the wedding ring. I think that's just, like, part of the withdrawals, like, great, I gotta, like, this is the hard part, like, maybe at this point he's already decided he's gonna better himself, and he sees that, and he has to, that's, like, probably the first of many tests for the rest of his life.
Although, I mean, the only other point that I can boil this down to is she's just a hoe. she wanted Michael at the beginning, and that's why she couldn't get engaged, because she had feelings for Michael in the beginning, and then blah blah blah, she shows up on the bus hoping to see him again, and then she's like, oh look, I don't have the engagement ring, and in the end she's just a hoe. And Steven, what do you feel about this movie? Because you haven't been talking, and I want to hear your opinion.
I want to hear you, Steven.
I kind of agree with Austin at the end. I feel like he kind of let go in a sense. I still agree with you, like, on the incestual thing, but I feel like in a sense, like, him bettering himself was him letting go of her, but in the process of letting go with her, he has to realize that he can't be using other people to fill that void. So at the very end, that temptation was like, okay, if I have sex with her, I'm filling the void with that my sister is leaving with me. So that's like temptation, like, uh-oh, should I do that now? And like I said, it's like it's one of the first of many tests that are going to arise in his lifetime. And the fact that you don't know what he does in the first test is kind of leaving it up in the air whether or not he really got over that.
That's a very good point.
I think it's a really interesting idea, and I like your evidence, but I think that end part is mainly a deal breaker, and I'm not convinced, but I think it's really interesting and a lot of things, but just to me, don't agree. But
So you hate my argument.
hey, man.
Oh, hey, man.
I
Well,
worked so
I got
hard-
something to say.
I worked so hard on forming this argument. And you just
I got something to say. I thought your argument was very well done,
that was a
and
good
I'm
argument.
very impressed. And it actually has got me questioning it. Because, I mean, a lot of the things you said, like, you know, you had the evidence to back it up. Although I still kind of go, I don't think, you know...
It's the incestuous thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really...
It's fine. I mean, it's just a way to look at it.
But I do, like, I am grabbing some things out of it, though.
That's
So.
fine. I mean, it's just my take of it.
Yeah.
Your take is everybody else's take.
I
Is
think
just
that's
fine on
I
it.
think that's a great thing. I like different viewpoints, but I mean, I think we've kind of covered like a lot of that stuff. Just how do you? I mean, this movie though. Like, how do you think? What do you think about like how it was filmed though? Because it was definitely pretty unique.
The splits between like
A lot of long takes.
how long it was filmed for without with single takes.
Yeah.
Kind of struck me at the idea that this is natural. This is
Yeah.
it's showing like a natural side of human error.
I think
That's why it's so easy to show it, because it's sin and everybody sins.
I think it was really like there's a lot of times it's like really naturalistic scenes. Like it didn't it. I mean, so you know how like the dinner date. I think the date was like
The most awkward.
well. I think
Unnatural.
I mean you had like the the awkward waiter and whatnot, but like I think the most important thing about
No, it was so awkward.
the most
I forgot to mention
Yeah.
the crab comes in a shell.
yeah. Like I don't think the dialogue is particularly like symbolic or whatever, but like I think the main point of that dinner was to find out like how he feels about relationships and like what she thinks, and so I think there's like all that banter beforehand that just kind of made him feel more organic, and just there's not really any contrivances I saw because of the naturalism.
Well, I mean, the movie itself was the length of the scenes were interesting because instead of shifting in between different scenes like a lot of movies do, and flipping camera angles, it's usually like one camera.
Oh, you know what?
And it moves around, and it's more like the camera acts more like a person instead of multiple objects.
There's actually a thing in this movie that kind of, if it almost feels like a reference to his first movie. In the middle of the movie is that dinner date thing. That dinner date. What is it?
Dinner day.
That date, and it's like it's one take, and it's like probably 7 minutes long, just that. But in his Steve McQueen's first movie, Hunger, right in the middle of the movie, there's a scene between Michael Fassbender's character and a priest, and the scene's like 12 minutes long, one take, like one shot. It's just these guys talking. I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's a little bold.
So what would you guys rate this film?
Yeah, to wrap this up, because we got more to talk about.
We do have a lot more to talk
Yeah,
about.
we do.
And I give this movie a 4. It encompasses an interesting idea. Well, the way I see it, it encompasses this idea of forbidden fruit, and kind of gives us the staple idea of you can't get what you want all the time. It may be dangling in front of you, but like if you think of it,
never mind.
Like his dong.
like his dong. I didn't think about that. But
Hanging dong.
but like if you take of it as like a fruit tree, and the best fruit is at the tip of the
If you take this movie as a fruit tree...
Damn it, the word
You're gonna
choice.
get it.
I'm sorry. Keep going. Oh dear.
Oh, Sean.
So if you think of it like
Your
cock and
national
balls, no, I'm just
It's not
kidding.
even subtle anymore.
But if you think of it like a fruit tree, it's like the best fruit is hanging at the top, but sometimes we're only available to those low hanging fruit
Damn.
that aren't as tasty
But
or
they're easier to
perfect.
get.
Or scrumptious.
or scrumptious.
Until you get a ladder.
And
Wait.
unless you're not allowed to have a ladder, but
Yeah.
it's like we're only allowed to have what's at our level, and that's what I pulled out of it. So that's why I'm giving it a 4.
Well,
Garden of Eden?
what would you
Cain
give
and
it?
Abel.
Garden of Steven.
Okay, Steven. Oh, okay, Steven.
Shout out to Steven.
So,
No.
Steven, what would you rate this movie?
Give it a 3.5. I thought it was interesting, but I felt like it was a little dry at sometimes. I would say that's because of the long takes you were mentioning. Felt kind of a little dry, a little, got silent at times, and I'm like, alrighty. Sometimes I felt like parts went on a little too long, too. Like one part that struck me as, like, why is this still happening? Was when Sissy was singing in the beginning.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
In the beginning, like I was expecting, like, oh, she's gonna like sing for like 30 seconds, and then they're gonna be like, oh, like I get it, she's singing. Then like she sung the whole song,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like 3.5 minutes, and I was like,
and I was like,
"Is this
That's
over?"
what I did.
probably
I
if
liked it.
If you were to look into like the song lyrics, even though there weren't that many, you probably would have gotten something symbolic that's relation to the movie. That's probably why they left it in. But it just didn't. It seemed a little long to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like it seemed to drag at certain times.
Well, actually, with that scene, I think that scene was just mainly important because like you can see like behind her eyes, she's definitely not feeling any of like that song. She's like, because at times like I almost like saw like a sadness in her, and she's kind of just like moving with emotions, But yeah, it was So I give this movie 4 stars. I think this is just a really strong 4-star movie. I really really liked it. Like every time I watch this movie, I like it a lot more. It's kind of cool. And I think my favorite part is the whole like relapse scene with the score, because then all of a sudden like out of nowhere it has the what's it called? It starts out with like the present, and then it has like little flashbacks, and this is flipping through as he's on the train, and it flips, and they really play with the audio. Like remember, like there's a part when he's walking down the street, after maybe he got beat up, and you can hear like heavy breathing, and it's from like one of the messages she left him, like that we see later on. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, the bringing together.
Yeah,
Flavio, how do you feel about this movie?
How do you feel, Flavio?
Well, I thought, this movie was really great. Like I said, I thought it was a character study of a sex addict. It definitely caught my attention throughout the film. I thought it was very, 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 very unique. That was a very unique film. There was some great shots. And I thought Michael Fassbender did an incredible job acting.
Oh, yeah.
That is
And Carey Mulligan was awesome.
Carey Mulligan was
Great
great.
good job. I like Carey
She
Mulligan.
did
I
really
didn't
good.
catch on to it, but
We
there
got to
was
see her
a
naked,
small
too.
Irish accent in her.
Small Irish accent in her. I'm going to give this movie 4 stars.
Very
Okay.
nice.
Wow. The next movie,
we're all
we've all seen.
One of my favorite movies.
This is one of my absolute favorite.
This is one of my favorite movies.
At the moment, this is at the top of my list of
Do you
favorite
wanna-
movies.
I have
Do
to
you
say
wanna go
that
for
when
who
I
sets it up?
rewatch this movie, like that ending part,
Wanna do
it was almost hard to watch.
Wanna do rock paper scissors, decide who sets it up?
Yeah, I want to do that because
You guys are such nerds.
How about I do it since you did the last one?
I haven't
All right,
done a
buddy.
setup.
Alright.
Oh wait,
Oh,
no,
Sean,
I
you
did
do the
one.
setup.
I did one setup.
Sean, you
once.
do the setup.
Okay.
You want me
Sean's
to?
never done any setups.
Sean,
Sean,
do the
go.
setup.
Well,
Sean, do the shut up.
okay. Before I
Very
go
good.
into
Don't
this,
fuck it
I'd
up.
like to note that I
Dedicate
have
this
a
setup
huge Japanese affiliation, so I felt very inclined to this movie. It was me and this movie shared feelings together.
Go together like
Yeah.
cheese and butter.
Sure.
Cheese
Anyways,
and butter.
Who was put
so this movie, Lost in Translation, starring
Tom Hanks.
No, Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. Johansson.
Johansson.
Anyway,
Scarlett Johansson.
so
Johansson.
Bill Murray plays this actor, post actor. He's now doing commercials. His name is Bob
Harris.
Bob Harris, and he is in Tokyo
Bob
doing
Harris?
a couple of shoots for some Japanese commercials, mainly for whiskey, Santori whiskey to be precise.
For a good time.
For relaxing time.
For-
Oh, yeah,
Relaxing
relaxing time.
It's
Santori.
yeah. Santori. Anyways,
More intensity.
so
Ring a ding ding.
he's staying at his hotel where Scarlett
25-year-old.
Johansson.
She's 25 in this movie. Well, she was actually 18 during the movie.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
she was young. Scarlett Johansson.
She had a booty.
Yeah, she did. In the first 5 minutes.
The title screen is her butt.
Yeah.
was nice.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so Scarlett Johansson is in the same hotel as Bill Murray's character, married to this man named John.
He's a douchebag.
Played by Giovanni Ribisi.
Who's a pretty,
He's
scummy
a
guy.
Sleazy.
He's
oh
a pretty
my
scummy
gosh.
guy, and he sounds like he's drunk slurred
Not
all
everyone
the
went
time.
to Yale.
Yeah, okay.
damn.
But she's married to him, unhappily married, and her character name is
Charlotte.
Charlotte. That's right. And
Charlotte?
basically, this movie is in between Bill Murray's character Bob and Scarlett Johansson's character Charlotte, and their interaction from both coming from both unhappily led marriages. Wow, I'm slipping all over. And basically, this little romance, which I will comment on later.
I will too.
Well,
Level 3.
because I don't feel it's
I
a
might.
romance.
Oh
actually.
yeah. We'll talk about that.
Eventually causing them to grow close, let them have fun, and they both suffer some form of insomnia at the beginning, and later, after confiding in each other and becoming friends, they start being able to sleep, which is an important theme driver in this movie. And
Theme driver. Coin that right now. Sean, I'm going to give you a coin. Is this, well, I'm going to
Theme driver.
If I make a character
I was like a professor with glasses and like like literature.
You remember that wrestler? You don't remember that wrestler that was a professor? He was in like the new ECW.
Professor Sex.
Yeah, you remember? And then he'd have a chalkboard.
No, just kidding. Anyways,
no.
So obnoxious.
Because I'm very excited to talk about this, let's get started.
I'm excited
like
too.
this movie.
All right,
Stop hitting the floor.
I want to.
One more time.
I really, 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 really like this movie.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Haha, I called you out.
Yeah, this movie is really... it's really neat to see Bill Murray in a serious role. And this is Sofia Coppola's second movie.
It was her second.
Yeah,
at the time.
so far it's been like her highest like critical achievement. But yeah, she's the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola. If you don't know, Godfather, Conversation, Apocalypse Now, Godfather Part 2, that stuff. Legendary director.
But yeah, so I mean, from the beginning, this movie it seems interesting because in the first couple of minutes of film, the title screen rolls up and it's Scarlett Johansson's butt, which you're automatically thinking, "What am I watching?" And
Scarlett Johansson's butt.
Yeah,
duh.
it's just Scarlett Johansson's butt for an hour and 40 minutes. I'm so down for that. But aside from that, it leads on to Bill Murray's character coming into Tokyo via cab, and he's very exhausted. Tokyo, I believe, is 18 hours ahead of us. If I'm
Wait, no, not 18 hours. That's
it's almost a day.
6 hours behind.
It's
really?
almost a day ahead of us.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Okay.
So, he's very exhausted. He's come into Tokyo, and the movie title definitely plays part in this because it's Tokyo. And, Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson are both white, and they enter this realm of Japanese. And
they can't talk to anybody but each other.
Yeah, it's kind of what brings them together, but it kind of sets this theme about, do we really understand anybody?
No.
That's a good
No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're shut down.
Just kidding.
But
no,
that's interesting.
that's interesting because I have a completely different theme.
Yeah, the coherent theme. Well, I just want to say this quick. I feel that this movie really isn't a romance, actually, which is kind of.
Actually, that's plausible.
I mean, I don't know.
I think it's a romance, but this is how I feel about it. It's a really unique romance because it's not it's not just
romance.
like a love romance. I think it's got it's kind of a romance of lovers, friends, of father daughter, brother sister.
Yeah, I think that many. I thought of it as one, and that was kindred spirits. It was a romance of kindred spirits.
See, well, that makes sense. But what I see it as, it's a study of a relationship between two people that love each other, but not in the love that we're used to.
Yeah,
because there's different types of love.
There's
different types of love, and I feel like this wasn't a romantic love. This was they just really loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about this movie is that it throws two people in a complete in a situation that they're not familiar.
They're submersed.
They're submersed in a new culture. They don't know what they're doing. And they meet each other and they just make the best out of it.
Actually, I would probably argue that it doesn't even any setting they would probably not be able to open up to anybody. I think just because it's in Tokyo, in a foreign country, that just helps emphasize the point.
Well, no, I mean and in Asian cultures, it is kind of a hindrance for you to be emotionally attached.
Oh,
it's actually a little bit frowned upon for you to be showing emotion because it's seen as immature. It's seen as not logical. And it's kind of it gets in the way.
Okay.
And
I like that.
But
yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I mean
That's interesting. I didn't
I'll tie that in later.
Okay.
But
I feel like it studies what I love is that it studies a completely different type of relation that you don't really see typically in movies. It's not like a typical romance. It's really studying these two people, that they meet up, they start to hang out, they really enjoy each other's company. And the thing is, they know that there's a time limit. They know that bond is not going to last.
Bless you, Steven.
bless you. They know that like soon, you know, they're gonna have to depart, and they're probably not going to be able to see each other either for a long time or ever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's what I thought was really interesting is that in a situation like that, there's two options that you can do. You can either avoid interacting with this person because that you know that maybe you can build something and it'll hurt in the end, you know, or you can just go for it
and make the best of it.
make the best of it, you know, and then once that pain comes, like just think that it was worth it.
You know, one of the things that's so beautiful about this movie that I think, because this is a really minimalistic movie and it feels, you know, very simple.
Very minimalistic, and the soundtrack was phenomenal.
Very good
Yeah,
soundtrack.
My
was
Bloody
great.
Valentine. They had that band you like.
Jesus and Mary Chain, that
Jesus
one
and-
song at the end.
Jesus and
Yeah.
Mary Chain.
But like, it's, you know, it's very minimalistic. But I just love the idea though that it just, you know, because both of them, you know, he's, you know, past his prime, he's experienced, old. She's, you know, new in her marriage. She's not liking it. She's, you know, she majored in philosophy. She doesn't know what she's doing with her life. She goes to like a lot of like temples around, and she's, you know, she's on a spiritual quest, and she's just, you know, stuck. They're both stuck.
Yeah, even with like the CD shows.
Well,
and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Well,
and I think,
whatever. Sorry.
well, I think this. What's so beautiful about it to me is just like, it takes like it made it seem like it. You know, they're both stuck, hopeless, but it only takes one person to like be able to open up. Like they couldn't talk to anybody. They couldn't talk to their wives and the, you know. And then they're in this new environment. They can't talk to anyone there. And then they find each other, and they see, you know, it can seem so hopeless. And then, but then all of a sudden, one person all of a sudden makes it like brings you hope. It only takes one, and by the end, you know, they are hopeful with that
And
life.
you can
It's-
really
I thought
tell
that's beautiful.
how desperate like she is, you know, when, like especially when she calls. Was it her mom?
Yeah, she called.
And then
Oh,
she
wow.
just wanted
that
to.
was so
Lydia.
sad.
That was really sad. She just wanted to
Oh,
open up
man.
to someone, and she was just like, "All right, I'll call you later."
Well,
then."
I have an idea about that, actually.
Oh wait, just one thing, because this is adding up to what Austin said. Like
Addition
addition,
of ideas.
but yeah, like what you said, what I thought was really interesting is that these are two people that are lost, but they're in completely different points in their lives. You know
No,
what?
no, go,
So-
go ahead.
So, what's the girl's name?
Charlotte.
So Charlotte, you know, she's just got married, you know,
Sure.
but she's lost. She's kind of thinking like, did I do the right decision?
Every time you say lost, I want to say in translation. Sorry, just keep going.
Anyway,
Flavio, I want to
so she's-
talk about my
Jesus
point.
Christ.
so she,
Sorry.
so yeah, so like she's trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. It's like she doesn't know, like something that we can relate to. And then Bill Murray's in the opposite end, you know, like he's a washed out actor. Like he's kind of reaching the end. He's starting to like question, you know, like is his marriage working out? Like his relationship with his kids aren't working out. And what I really like about Bill Murray's character in this movie is that it kind of fits Bill Murray himself. You know, like if you've read about Bill Murray, like just how he is in real life, and he's actually like struggling, you know, with his marriage. You know, like he smokes a lot of pot, like he does in movies, and he likes to party a lot. And he's like, I feel like he's very young in spirit, but you know, he just because he's of a certain age, it kind of demands that he
Acts a certain way.
he acts a certain way where he's like the responsible father
That's
figure.
what I mentioned.
But
he,
maybe
he
that's
was
not
so
what he
good in
wants.
this movie.
He
Like,
was-
this actually got him an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
I really felt like this.
He was really good.
But I really felt like this movie was just Bill Murray being himself, and like
It was written for him.
yeah.
I
With
feel
him
that
in
way.
mind. You know.
Anyways, so the point I was going to make is there is this theme I found that was pretty predominant, and it's this theme that nobody really cares. And let me put it to you like this. So, when...
feel like- hold on,
Let
I
me kick it to you like this.
I feel like this is a seminar. You just turned around in your seat like backwards so you can be casual.
All right, kids.
Maybe you're out. Maybe it's a class outside and it's hip because it's outside.
Anyways, so like, kind of what you were saying, Flavio, about when she called her mom. She was like, "All right, hold on." While it is clear that Scarlett Johansson's character is crying and weeping, and you would think that a mother or friend, you know, even if it was a good friend, they would stop what they're doing and be like, "Okay, what's wrong?" But in fact, nothing's right. You know, it's come to that point where she's like, I tried Ikebana, which is the art of flower arranging, for those who are ignorant.
We're ignorant.
Anyways, no, just a little FYI, guys. And so she doesn't really care. And there's this kind of dissonance between emotion. It's like Why do I have to care about your feelings? And then this theme kind of continues when Bob, Bill Murray's character, calls his wife. There's always this impatience, and it's like, I gotta go. I gotta go, Bob. I need to go, Bob. The kids need me, Bob. It's like their individual emotions don't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's kind of like the world is moving around without them.
Wait,
Really,
so-
that's the theme.
hold
So
on.
the theme you
Hold on.
got is that people don't care even up until
No,
the
no,
end.
I want to add on to that.
I'm just saying this is one of the themes that have been
I want
showing.
to add on to that though.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
are you saying like, in the grand at this, they're them being stuck is kind of like the grand scheme of things. They don't really matter. So like with them finding each other reassures people that you do matter.
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
like that's what I was going to bridge into. It's like the world kind of looks down on individual emotion because it's like, why do you matter? Why do you specifically matter?
Oh,
And it takes. Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I don't want to cut you short. It's just like
Keep going, keep
I
going.
gotta throw this all together. It's the world looks down on it, but when two individuals with the same kind of, this sounds weird, but I feel love works through harmonics and frequencies.
That's interesting.
If one wave pattern directly matches another wave pattern, they are in sync. So these two people
Musicals do that all
that
the time.
have these two in sync emotions meet, and that's very harmonious. It's a very harmonious meetup, and they're able to share feelings, emotions, and thoughts together because they're on the same wavelength.
wow.
And that's what truly brings them together. That's kind of where the theme goes. It's like all these different resonances and harmonics with the world are dissonant with the waves of these two individuals.
Okay, so I see. So it's like the wave of like Bill Murray and his wife are completely wrong. You
Yeah,
know?
they're
Scarlett
opposites.
Johansson,
Especially because they're
and-
on like opposite ends of the earth.
and
Or Josh
the
or John?
girl and her husband,
John. It's
like
John.
just completely off, and until they finally meet, it kind of
They resonate.
Wow.
That's
that makes so much sense. I love that analysis of love.
Thank
Right,
you.
right.
That is great. Wow.
How do you
I'm
feel?
gonna grab that. That's mine now. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna take the credit for it, but like, that makes sense, dude.
I mean,
Harmony.
to other people you will.
Wow.
But in our presence,
I feel like
you're
I
not
want
gonna
to
take
share that with people.
Go
now.
ahead,
That's
share
so
it.
cool.
As long as you trademark
like
it.
that makes sense.
You know
like
what I really-
harmony.
One thing I really like about because they have like pretty good chemistry in this movie, and I really like how they kind of avoid cliche, like when they would kind of flirt and stuff, or like there'd be a moment that could be like cliche, like in a like romantic comedy sense, but then they put like Bill Murray puts a spin on just like with his own quirky humor. And I really
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
All the humor in this movie was like really nuanced.
I thought Bill Murray was so charming.
Bill
Oh, yeah.
Murray
So,
always
so
plays like
charming.
a charming character.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
was
mean,
great.
like, I know, like, Bill Murray's all old, but, like, imagine you just Bill Murray being himself and you hanging out with him for a week. Like,
He sounds like the
who
coolest guy
cannot
ever.
fall in love with Bill
He
Murray?
sounds like the coolest guy ever.
Steven, what do you think about this movie?
You guys like to talk a lot.
I was just like, hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
Steven has
Christ,
important
guys.
10 cents.
Sorry, we like this movie.
I'm like,
I want to hear your
Oh
take.
God!
Steven?
I didn't even say what I think about this movie, and you guys are talking about character nuance.
I did not say
Anyway, all right. So what I think of this movie, for me, basically what this movie is about, kind of like ties in with why I think it's so popular. Basically, I feel like it's like two people who feel like their lives are closing in, kind of not because like they feel trapped, but just because like things are getting worse and worse, and they feel like they're reaching a critical point. And I think that them going to Japan and like meeting each other is kind of a break from that. I think we all aspire to have that kind of break where you can kind of sit back and like be able to reassess your life and evaluate the importance of what's going on. Because I feel like they first meet up and they're obviously very stressed. She has I assume they're on their honeymoon. Are they on their honeymoon?
No, it's not.
No,
him.
it's
no, it
New
was
Year's.
a work.
2 years.
Yeah, he's there because he's shooting a band.
Yeah, and Charlotte's not getting any attention, and then I'll just say Bill Murray. Bill Murray, he has a family at home that his wife doesn't really care for him. His kids are starting to get used to not having him around, and it's really stressing him out and closing in. But then like
Also, he's a washed-up actor. That's
and he's a washed-up actor. And
Well, it's midlife crisis.
as these kindred spirits they're kind of coming together, and they're realizing that like the stresses in their lives like may not be so bad, or that like it's not that important, just having that connection with someone in that manner. So I think like these two people are like kind of taking a break from life and having the ability to realize that it's not that bad. And I think that's something that a lot of people strive for.
The scene when they're on the bed just talking to each other, like they watched a movie, and then she asks him, "Does it get better?" Or does it get easier? And she's talking about life, and then
No, he's talking about marriage.
No, he's talking about both.
Then
He
she
talks
talks
about
about marriage
first and then
afterwards.
marriage.
Oh.
And then he's like, "And what about marriage?" And it's like, he says it gets really complicated with the kids, and it's like, I thought that was just such a great scene, because then he tells her at some point, "You're not hopeless."
Yeah,
You know?
because she still has a future.
Like that's exactly what they both need to hear.
So how this works in my mind about this movie goes like this. The reason why they're lost in translation is Tokyo may seem different, but it's just an environment to show that resonances are go against each other. It's basically like how you listen to something, but you can't really hear it. It's when you're stuck in the translation of Japanese to English. I can listen to what a director was telling Bill Murray to do, and I knew what he was saying, because I've taken Japanese and understand it. However, Bill Murray's character,
You are our interpreter. As
Yeah.
a group, you are the Japanese interpreter.
as I could understand, it was like I didn't really have any thoughts against it, because it was like, oh well, he's saying this. But then I realized that how hard interpreting from one language to another language is. Because as I was listening to the director, and then as I listened to what the translator was saying, she didn't say exactly what the director said. And, Bill Murray...
More intensity.
Yeah, Bill Murray...
Is that all he said?
Bill Murray actually, catches up to that. He's like, just like you said, he's like, I'm pretty sure he said more than that. Which he has a point. It's because there is things that you cannot translate perfectly, and that's what love is. And that's kind of like going into yours, showing that it's a unique love. It's like, you cannot translate love. There is no translation for love, and you can't give a definite, a definition towards it. You can't be like, well, this is love. No, everybody's love is different than one another. And that's kind of what goes into the waves theory. It's like, different people have a different mindset about love, and therefore their resonance of love is going to change. The reason why, later in this movie, there is a singer at the bar in the hotel that Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson's characters are staying at, and she has a little sexual rendezvous with Bill Murray's character. Except coital adventure.
Everyone had a straight face. I was the only one who thought that was funny.
We're about to have a sexual rendezvous.
So I like that term. You guys can coin that term. But
well, it's your turn, so you can
Coin driver.
Yeah.
Driver.
Anyways, and what happens is Bill Murray's character and Scarlett Johansson's character have dissonance, but it's because somebody had come and tipped the scale.
Oh,
it's
like someone stole the vulnerability that he's been giving to me.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like
she even said that. He said like when she was complaining, she was like, "Wasn't there anyone else to like lather you in attention, like with attention?"
Yeah, he said that to
Oh,
her,
man, that's so
and it's kind of like they're both thrown off distance because she's hurt, so her track is running lower, and it's not as harmonious to him, and his track becomes less harmonious because somebody else has come and made his dissonant. So it's like, instead of having harmonious, it's very like, when you hit a wrong chord on a piano and it sounds very just, it's that kind of sound.
Every time,
not me, I'm a great musician. What?
And that's dissonance. Instead of like looking like a normal wave pattern, it's very scratchy, and it starts to look like a seismogram or if those.
Okay.
Yeah.
To me, what Lost in Translation, what it meant to me, was the fact that, like you were saying, like the Japanese to English things get lost. But I think that that I think that what it was saying is that people don't really know how to effectively communicate with each other. Things get lost in translation, quote unquote, because you're trying to express things you're feeling verbally, and it's not really coming out right, and you can't really connect with anybody. But then they find each other, and they can finally connect, and that's why they feel such a love for each other. Whether however that love's interpreted, whether it be romantic or platonic or mother daughter or father daughter, brother sister, it's the fact that they're actually communicating when they feel like they could never communicate with anybody before.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly how I feel about it.
Agree.
One quick point. Both characters learn from each other. I feel that's a very important theme.
Yeah.
I would say the age difference would make that important. That there's things to learn from both perspectives.
There's experience on one side, and then there is, I guess you could say, fun on the other side. Which
I would say potential more.
No,
boils it down.
Because she's like spiritual, and he's like.
Well, I don't think
like
she's spiritual. I
Well,
feel like she's looking for answers, and that's why she's going out. She goes to a temple and she listens to chanting. She's sure she can't understand it, but she starts to feel something. But she comments that she doesn't really feel.
But what
anything.
I think, because like you see like relationships sometimes, it's like they both give some to the other, like that, fill the gaps. But I don't think it's filling the gaps in this. I think it's they both have their own problem, and the other person being there for them helps fix their own problem.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like from dissonance to harmony. I'm gonna argue that point to the grave on this one.
I can tell.
That's. It sounds weird. I mean, if
No, it totally makes sense to me.
It's a good analogy.
But I really like that because that harmony with love, because like that wavelength changes in time.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on like different situations and like just stuff that happens with you, and that's how love can change too.
Every single musical exemplifies that.
No. Anyway,
well, musical
because I really like musical with like where there's lovers. Like they always how's it they sing in harmony? Yeah, they harmonize. Yeah, it's always like that. Just help show that they're in sync, and it does that with like Shakespeare a lot too. When characters kind of fill in the meters,
like beats.
Well, yeah, they fill in the beats and the meter for each other, like Romeo and Juliet. That's just so. I mean that's how I kind of saw it. So I think I like that analogy that you used.
Yeah, you could see this movie as a musical.
But I totally go with your thing with like so. Like, there's so much stuff that's built up on both sides and so much frustration, that when they're together, they can, relieve it,
Yeah.
Like, I feel like after that, after all that built-up tension, and, like, feeling for so long that no one understands them and, like, they can't talk to anyone. And once they come together and they both, like, kind of understand each other and kind of realize that, like, I mean, how can you not feel something for the other person after that?
And that ending...
Yeah.
That I was like I couldn't I felt so many.
I'm actually glad you guys walked away after it was off because I was like adjusting. I was like, whew.
Dude, me too. After that, I had to go for a walk. After that, I'm serious. I had to go for a walk. I was
the best way to explain their relationship is they're into
we need to wrap this up actually.
Yeah, they're
I think the ending's that important.
No, I think
I thought the ending was very important.
Okay, to basically
it was impactful, but I wouldn't say it's important.
Yeah, I mean,
well, explain, Stephen.
I would say that the ending itself isn't very. I don't want to say not necessary, but I feel like it's more of the payoff for watching the movie. I don't feel like it has much significance if you don't understand the build-up, really.
I think so. I think so. Because it's just like it's only really for that closure.
Yeah.
But I think it's I guess if they don't have closure, then the hope that they were giving each other the whole time wasn't really set off and ready to go, and like in work, they really need the closure. So I mean I guess they can. Yeah. So like that's I guess my argument that it is important, but I know what you mean. I see what you mean.
But I mean, just the way I interpreted the end is like after that, and just that scene at the end, it's so powerful. He's just leaning his head against the window, and like it just kind of zooms into Bill Murray's face. Like I kind of saw that as him coming to the realization, that all that just happened is gone forever. Like it's back to reality. Like it's back to that struggle that he felt like in that week with her, that it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like it was kind of like a flood. It was just kind of flooding back, And he was just like,
what she whispered in her ear. It's nobody knows What? Because it wasn't even in the script. Like she just told him to whisper in his ear.
I figured it was more of like an interpretive thing.
Like
I feel like
I
you're
feel
up
like
to.
I feel like the writer or the director didn't feel.
The writer is the director.
Oh, well, I feel like what was it Sophia
Sophia.
Coppola? I feel like she didn't want to put in a line that was that like wasn't as impactful as she wanted it to be. If that makes sense, like she couldn't come up with a line that
Could
express
really send it.
express like the poetic justice of that moment.
That, or it goes back to like the harmonizing thing or the love thing. It's basically like it's up to you.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly. It puts the viewer into it, and it makes it so someone doesn't see that movie, hear that end line, and be like, "Well, that was lame."
Actually, on YouTube, like there's people who try to figure out like what it was he said.
Okay.
And there's one that sounds pretty close, but I don't.
What was the
It's,
close
it's
one?
irrelevant. I don't really want to say it. It's
Alright.
irrelevant.
Well,
Yeah,
to wrap it
it's
up, let's go into ratings.
Yeah, ratings. So Flavio, what would you rate it?
I really,
Flavio 5 kilo. What?
there you go. There you go. Treading on me. I'm not gonna
I'm
bite.
patronizing you.
I'm not gonna bite. Don't patronize me.
Okay, so
I'm not
5
gonna bite.
stars.
I'm gonna.
You gonna give it 5?
5
You
stars.
gonna? Is that a yes or
Get out of
no?
here. I really like this movie. You know, one of my favorite movies. You know, very emotional connection towards this film. I really liked it. I'm gonna give it 5 stars.
Okay,
Okay.
Sean.
To tie everything I said together, harmonizing, dissonance, and the fact that these two share the relationship I would call
Of a god.
in tune.
Into.
It's like a band. If
In sync.
Because they were united today.
anyways,
On Sunday.
or if you're combining vocal cords or anything
yeah.
like that. Any two sounds that share the same kind of manner are in tune, and I feel like these two characters are in tune. The scenery is beautiful. I love that they show multiple parts of Japan, the busyness of Tokyo, the quietness of Hokkaido, and all these other great Japanese cities and landmarks. I give this movie a 5
Okay.
because of the impact and the emotion and the way that they show it is unconventional but really well played.
Okay, Steven.
So, I would say, as it stands now,
Mhm.
and wait till I finish for the
Okay,
controversy.
okay.
As it stands now, I would say it's a 4, but that's only because I saw it with you guys, and I feel like it's a very intimate movie.
Yeah.
You draw a lot more out, just one-on-one. And now talking about it, it seems a lot more interesting. I really want to give it a rewatch by myself, and I feel like it'd be rated higher, because just this conversation alone made me think like 4.5. So I just want to rewatch it again. So as it stands now, 4.5. It'll probably go up in the
Yeah, I
future.
feel like this movie is very one-on-one. I watched it
Yeah.
alone yesterday, and I'm sure
I-
Yeah, I saw it alone yesterday.
I
too.
recommend
I
that
was-
you watch it by yourself.
God damn.
I think that's the only time I've actually watched it with somebody.
Austin?
I've seen it. This is my 3rd time watching this. Probably 3.5 times I've seen it.
3.5.
Um,
Austin, what do you
And
rate
so I get 5 stars. This is like one of my absolute favorites. This is like really high up there. I mean, I love this movie, and I think it's just a really beautiful, simple. Like I kind of have a thing for like simple movies. I feel like simplicity kind of resonates really well. Like you can have complexity and dig into it and like enjoy it because it's just you get to find more and more. But this is like it's simple and it kind of contains like just. This movie just is a lot about like just the feelings and just what you get out of it. It's a really relaxing movie. Has a great atmosphere, great music, great acting. It's a really, really beautiful movie, and I give it 5 stars. So
Great. Before we end today, I'd like to point out to my viewers,
To his
Your
viewers.
viewers?
To his
Oh,
viewers.
whoa.
sorry.
They're his
Whoa.
viewers.
I'm so sorry. Our viewers, that if you are interested in listening to a great speech given by Kevin Spacey,
Oh, I heard about that.
I
There-
heard about
Sorry.
it.
there
watch that.
is this thing called the James McTaggart's lecture, and it's given every now and so years. I don't know the exact years. And this year, Kevin Spacey gives it, and he talks about the importance of viewers or television companies giving the viewers what they want. It's a very inspirational speech and a very good commentary on today's media and even yesteryear's media. So I recommend that you people go watch it. It's very enlightening. Kevin Spacey does a great job. He's a great speaker. And,
Can you post that on my Facebook?
Yeah, I'll send the link. And
Yeah,
I'll give you guys.
We'll
I'll
link
give
it-
you
we'll
guys
link
the
it for the
link.
site.
And
Yeah, that's
it's
sounds
very. It's very
Okay,
fulfilling.
okay. So I guess that wraps it up.
Wraps it on
This
up.
is the review locker.
This is the review. This is us. This was that.
This
That
is
was-
Austin Campbell. That's Flavio.
And I'm Sean.
And that's Steven.
And that's a guitar.
And this is a guitar.
And this is the review locker. Kaijo.
That was it. That's the end of that.
That's not Europa. 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 That's not Europa.